Hey, right over here. Come on. Homicide, Rocky. I just want, after a few matches, I need to get a promo with you guys. So just so you know, be ready.
Get the fuck out of here right now! We don't need no goddamn promos, especially with Young Jacks. Get out of here!
All right, fine.
You know what, finally, I'm back in the Midwest where they appreciate what I'm going to give them. Wrestling. Not the East Coast where they want you to bounce off the walls and kill yourself. But right here in the Midwest, tonight, in Dayton, I'm going to walk out of the Four Corners survival match victorious. And you know what? I haven't forgotten about you fans on the East Coast. You're all still number one in my book.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dayton, Ohio for a very historic night. It's our golden anniversary, Ring of Honor's 50th show, and we are underway with CM Punk. The date is October 15th, 2004. I'm Jimmy Bauer, joined by Mark Nolte. How are you on this historic night, Mark?
Well, it's great there. You can feel the excitement in the air, if I can go to the cliche early.
This is the 50th show. I've been on a lot of these shows. There's a couple of them that I missed, but I'd like to think I left my mark on the ones I've been on. I'd like to think that when I'm in this ring, something special happens. There's been a lot of moments I've been proud of to be a part of here in Ring of Honor. There's one particular moment I'm not so happy about. A lot of you people might remember 60-minute time limit draw. He ruined what was supposed to be a special moment in this ring. He ruined it for me, he ruined it for Joe, and he ruined it for all you people here. Joe and I lock horns one more time. Now it's not going to be easy, I know that. You people saw the first time we wrestled for the title. I need momentum going into this. It's exactly why I asked for Homicide here tonight. It's exactly why I'm not afraid to wrestle again against Generation Next, because I remember what Homicide did, and I remember what Generation Next tries to do to the Second City Saints each and every time here in Ring of Honor. So this match is mine. The main event belongs to me. And then tomorrow when I march to my hometown of Chicago, Illinois, I'm
got some nerve. He's bringing out that belt that he stole last time in Dayton. You heard CM Punk explain why he wants this match, and now Homicide is mocking him.
Well, Homicide, and here we go. It is on. Homicide, who a lot of people consider the MVP from last year, against CM Punk, the man who a lot of people consider the MVP this year. Back body drop by CM Punk. Homicide goes to the floor. Jimmy, let's point out.
Punk pursuing Homicide to the outside.
Bring it in the ring, come on!
This is not where you want to be against Homicide. He can brawl with the best of them.
Boy, and if it's anybody that might, and I do use the word might advisably, be able to keep up with Homicide outside the ring, it is CM Punk. We talked about the battles against the Prophecy, the battles against Raven. He held his own with Samoa Joe outside. Though we should point out, Homicide 2-0 against CM Punk. CM Punk talking about building momentum as we get prepared for that world title shot. Well, he's going to try to break a curse against Homicide right here.
He dumps Homicide right into the crowd. This one might not be able to be contained in the ringside area. What's Punk doing here?
And I think he may have broken Homicide's ankle when he suplexes him. The full brunt of that goes right on the ankle.
What about Homicide back first on those chairs? Punk taking it back into the ring. You've mentioned this is the third singles match between the two. They first met at Round Robin Challenge 2, Retribution, back in 2003. They met again earlier this year in January at The Last Stand. Homicide winning both those matches, but Homicide was a different man back then. CM Punk was somewhat of a different man back then. Now we're seeing these two collide, and this time they got a grudge.
Well, and if you see Homicide, you know you're going to see the Rottweilers around the ring, as you do here.
That's right, Rocky Romero at ringside. Punk scores with a powerbomb. We got a cover. Todd Sinclair with a 2 count. You do have to keep an eye on Rocky Romero, one half of the ROH Tag Team Champions, a man that's going after Samoa Joe in the world title tonight. Another 2 count by Punk.
Conspicuous by his absence out here is Julius Smokes.
I don't know where he is tonight. Ricky Reyes is also not here tonight. Loki isn't here either, as he is in Japan.
Rocky Romero will get as you mentioned, is getting a title shot later on this evening. You would think that Julius Smokes would want to be here for that.
Well, you never know what the Rottweilers are up to as Homicide bails out, saves himself from that face wash. Rocky Romero offering some support. Punk goes airborne and takes them both out.
There's a great line in the original Godfather movie where Michael Corleone says, "This will be the day that we settle all the scores of the family." And CM Punk is trying to do just that, taking on Homicide in this match, and later on trying to settle the score once and for all against Generation Next in the final match of the evening.
As we have a back and forth in the ring, tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Punk scooping up Homicide.
Greco-Roman backdrop.
Homicide frustrated in the early going of this one as Punk has been dominant. A torture rack. That's something you don't usually see. Rocky Romero distracting the referee. And Punk cannot get distracted.
Well, I'm really surprised to see CM Punk. Big knee to the back by Homicide. Sends Punk all the way to the floor, and Rocky Romero set and waiting for him.
Homicide and Romero almost working like a team. Homicide distracting the referee, allowing Romero to get that cheap shot in. Oh, and look at that impact on the neck on that hardwood floor.
I'm a little surprised by the decision of CM Punk to come out to the ring by himself, knowing that he was going to face Homicide, knowing that you never face just one of the Rottweilers. I'm surprised that we're not seeing Ace out here.
Yeah, Ace still probably preparing for the 6-man. Colt Cabana, of course, still out with that shoulder injury that he suffered at the hands of Generation Next.
Homicide still favoring that ankle from the early where he.
It looks like it's his lower back as well. Punk, though, let's see if Homicide can follow up. CM Punk insisted that this match happen right here in Dayton after what happened the last time in Dayton when Homicide stole that belt, ruined the post-match after the World Title Classic.
They had presented Samoa Joe with a new ROH Championship belt. Homicide steals it after the 60-minute draw. Homicide still frustrated by the fact that he will not be getting a title shot at Samoa Joe. Jimmy, you can comment on exactly how long that stipulation will last.
It's Homicide and Samoa Joe are not going to be in the same ring until at least 2005. And in fact, wow, there you see Homicide assaulting the neck again, and a big knee to the back of the neck.
You know, obviously Homicide's going to be frustrated by that, but at the same time, it makes Homicide even more dangerous. Homicide has nothing to lose out here. If he loses this match, he doesn't lose a title shot, so he can be even more aggressive. He can take even more chances. He's the one with nothing to lose.
Homicide did get the last laugh on Samoa Joe at Scramble Cage Melee. Don't forget he pinned Joe in that non-title three-way. Oh, there's a vicious kick. But he pinned Joe after CM Punk hit him with the Pepsi plunge.
And CM Punk is upset. CM Punk believes that delayed the rematch with Samoa Joe after the 60-minute draw, that Punk believes that if he was the one that had scored the pin, it would have accelerated the process of getting that return match.
CM Punk did have Samoa Joe beat after that Pepsi plunge, but Homicide swooped right in and stole the pinfall. As Punk missing the drop kick.
Boston Crab, full Boston Crab. And now he's going to sit back on it. This is the textbook. Now he's going to go into the half crab.
STF.
Beautiful float into the STF.
This one wrenches at the neck, tears at the knee, tweaks the back.
Come on, Punk, how about it?
Now remember, not only does CM Punk have to wrestle again tonight against a very dangerous Generation Next faction, but he is close to that world title shot coming up.
Tomorrow night in Chicago, CM Punk and Samoa Joe, the rematch will finally happen, and you know that Homicide would love nothing more than to ruin that match.
Well, and Homicide may be softening. We keep talking about Samoa Joe tomorrow night against CM Punk. Homicide may be softening him up for his partner, Rocky Romero.
There's Homicide going for a knee. Nice T-bone suplex. CM Punk's getting to the point now. He has to mount some offense soon. Cover. Ref Todd Sinclair with just a 2 count.
Again, you have to question, sometimes your courage overrules your intelligence, and we've all been guilty of that from one time or another. And for CM Punk, I can appreciate his pride and his ego wanting the match with Homicide here, again on the same night where he already signed to face Generation Next. But I don't know if it's wise to make this challenge so close to a world title shot, whether it is Samoa Joe or Rocky Romero.
You're right about that, Mark. Punk might have let pride get the better of him. He was signed to that Generation Next match, but he insisted that he wrestle Homicide right here in Dayton after what happened on June the 12th. And we got a small package. 2 count only. Homicide quickly back up with a clothesline.
Does anybody throw a better clothesline in ROH than Homicide?
The notorious 187 puts him down with the lariat, no doubt about that. Homicide now joined with Todd Sinclair.
And it's divide and conquer time. Rocky Romero, and I'll get more into this later, but I think it would be a mistake to overlook Rocky Romero's challenge tonight to Samoa Joe.
No doubt about that. Rocky Romero is a man that can definitely take Samoa Joe. We'll hear from Samoa Joe in a few minutes also about that upcoming match. There's a sunset flip. 2 count only.
You know, it looks like CM Punk has decided he wants to wrestle this match. He scored early brawling with Homicide outside the ring, but once Homicide's taken the advantage, CM Punk, it looks like he wants to wrestle his way out of trouble instead of brawling his way out of trouble.
Well, see, Homicide has a definite strategy. You saw just now CM Punk clutching at the neck and Homicide kicking him right in the back of the neck. So Homicide definitely targeting the neck. And now he puts Punk down with a thumb to the eyes. That's cheap. Oh yeah, he really thinks he outsmarted everybody.
Yeah, it takes a lot of intelligence. Einstein used to use that move when he had fights.
Punk now getting pulled up by his hair.
Crotch hold lift and body slam by Homicide. Homicide
Homicide might be spending too much time, John, with the fans there as he ascends to the top rope.
Homicide, again, I don't even know if it's as important to him to win the match against CM Punk or just apply as much punishment as he can.
And there's a cover. Well, you know that Homicide would love to go 3-0 against Punk.
Well, and CM Punk talked about this in his in-ring interview earlier. What CM Punk is trying to do is create as much momentum as possible. One of the ways to create momentum is to beat Homicide here. But, you know, there's the other side of that coin. Confidence is a very funny thing. If he goes 0-3 to Homicide,
that would definitely be a momentum killer. It's like taking a spin on the roulette wheel at the Argosy. As right now, Homicide pushing off Punk, but Punk showing a lot of heart and courage. Once again, here comes Punk, not being denied. He's got Homicide caught on that top rope.
This is going to be a superplex all the way from the top.
Punk scores, but you can tell the impact rattled through the neck of CM Punk. Homicide is down, clutching at that lower back. Rocky Romero shouting encouragement to his fellow Rottweiler.
But at least Punk has got this match back to even.
This crowd in Dayton definitely behind Punk.
One thing Punk and Homicide both have in common, they're both willing to sacrifice their own bodies.
Ace Crusher, but Punk pushes off. Punk back with chops.
Those are double knife edges by CM Punk.
And Punk with a flying forearm, down goes Homicide. Quickly scoops him up.
Double arm backbreaker, the cover, doesn't hook the leg, and Homicide rolls his shoulder at 2.5.
You notice that move connected on the lower back, perhaps CM Punk trying to target the lower back of Homicide, which is obviously in pain.
And you know Samoa Joe is watching this match from the back.
Oh, no doubt about that. There's a knee. Homicide blocking that with a knee. Beautiful release over the head, belly to belly. Punk itching his way over to Homicide. We got a cover.
Hooks the near leg. If he hooks the far leg, he may have had him there.
I can't believe this is just the opening match, Mark Nolte. This is a main event on any other show.
50 shows.
ROH Gold, the Golden Show in ROH, number 50. It's an accomplishment just to make it here, and we want to thank you for that. As there's a knee to the gut by Homicide. Oh, and look at Punk with that heel kick to the head, blocking the power driver. Backslide.
You know, that's what Kerry Von Erich beat Ric Flair for the world title with.
Oh, stuffed power driver. Oh, impact on the neck. Cover.
And good call by the referee here, as Punk's half of his body is underneath that bottom rope.
Todd Sinclair's doing a very good job despite adverse circumstances with Rocky Romero on the outside, and Homicide showing signs of frustration now.
And let's give Homicide some credit. We talked earlier about the great moments that CM Punk has had in ROH history as we enter our 50th show. Jimmy, I know there's a lot of animosity right now between you and Homicide. I know you don't particularly care for him on a personal level, but a lot of those great moments from these last 50 shows have been produced by Homicide as well.
No doubt about that. We're seeing another great match right here as it's now back and forth. Punk ducking the clothesline. There's a CM Punk original. Cover.
And that time he did have the back leg hook. Homicide's able to get out. Boy, I feel sorry for the matches that come up after this. This is going to be a hell of a thing to have to follow.
This is a main event on any show. Let's see what either man can follow up with. CM Punk, his neck is screaming in pain. Homicide's lower back is aching.
Samoa Joe is in the back right now rooting for kickouts.
And there's a nice mule kick. No. Ace Crusher by Homicide. He finally hits it. Turns Punk over. 2 count. Somehow Punk kick it out.
And every time there's a kick out, that's more punishment that can be delivered to CM Punk, and Samoa Joe's got to be happy about that, less than 24 hours away from their title rematch.
Punk still has to wrestle again tonight.
Absolutely. And not only does he have to wrestle again tonight, but against Generation Next.
It's night of the grudge matches for CM Punk. Hold on, he's looking up for the cop killer. Punk lands on his feet and saves himself. It definitely would have been over if he hit the cop killer. A block of the vertical suplex. Punk's going for the cop killer. No, Homicide lowering his body weight.
Well, if anybody knows how to counter the cop killer, it's going to be Homicide.
And Rocky Romero up on the canvas, distracting Todd Sinclair.
Homicide's got the belt.
Oh, low blow! No! Punk showing an incredible amount of determination, of courage, of heart. Homicide and Romero cannot believe it. This crowd in Dayton thought it was all over.
Now Homicide showing his frustration, responding to the crowd. I think that's the first time tonight, or that he's done that in the last 10 minutes anyway.
Homicide with a vicious headbutt.
I wouldn't be surprised if CM Punk is unconscious on his feet right now.
CM Punk had to kick out on instinct alone. Homicide going for that butterfly suplex from the top. Punk trying to headbutt his way out, almost a low blow there. He does though, and Homicide might be in position for the Pepsi plunge. One arm hook, the other arm hook. Punk's gonna hit the Pepsi plunge, it's gonna be all over. There's Romero one more time.
Had the double underhook.
Punk should not have let go. He is tired of Romero though. Todd Sinclair, and he decks Romero. Homicide with a chair though. Right to the back of the neck. Lariat to the back of the neck. Sinclair didn't see any of it. Oh.
And Homicide's going to go 3-0 against CM Punk.
Todd Sinclair not seeing the belt used, not seeing the chair used. Homicide gains the cheap victory. What a great match we saw, and to have it ruined like that, that's what Homicide's all about these days. It just makes me sick.
It's not Joe. I'm the real champ, bitch. Yeah, right there.
Yes. Yo, Punk. Don't even worry about Chicago or Samoa Joe tomorrow night. Because tonight, that belt is mine. I'll be your next ROH World Heavyweight Champion.
Come on, knock it off!
Last time here, Dayton, Ohio, Ring of Honor had a four-way extravaganza of the best pure wrestlers in this industry. And I tell you what, I had the most embarrassing moment in my career because I was the one right there in the center of the ring that tapped the Jay Lethal's submission hold. Well, tonight it's going to be different. Tonight I'm well prepared. Tonight I'm going to give Jay Lethal a lesson of his life. I'm going to make him tap because that's what I'm good at, because I have the precision of a physician when it comes to wrestling holds and human anatomy. I know which ways the joints bend, and more importantly, I know which ways they don't bend. And tonight, I'm going to take Jay Lethal and send him right to that hospital across the street and he's going to get plastic surgery on his ugly face. Hey, make sure he sees this right here, okay?
The code of honor is being followed by both Trent Acid and Matt Seidel in this one. Seidel with the beautiful and lovely Daisy Hayes in his corner. This is a special challenge match. Both these guys trying to get some momentum going. Trent Acid, of course, claiming to be the king of the multi-person matches, hasn't exactly lived up to that lately. Seidel, he's scored some wins here in ROH, and he is looking to climb that ladder. Acid with a cheap slap on Seidel.
I don't think it's that cheap. Seidel's walking around the ring with some goofy-looking grin on his face. Trent Acid just slapped it off.
Trent Acid needs to invest in some ring gear, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, you know what? I think it ought to be a rule. You should dress better than the fans.
The fans are dressed better than he is.
Well, that's a good point, too.
He looks like he just woke up in a homeless shelter.
If you want people to take you seriously as a wrestler, get some ring gear.
Trent Acid, he was doing well earlier in the year and claiming he was the king of the multi-person matches, winning a bunch of them. But at Scramble Cage Melee, it came down to him and Jack Evans, and he got squashed by Evans off the top of that cage. That was just an unbelievable match, and now Acid getting aggressive. And since that time on October 2nd, Midnight Express reunion, he didn't fare too well there either. And now Seidel opening up on him, and Acid taking a breather. Seidel not giving him a chance, though.
Wrestling!
As these two going back and forth, this is hard to keep up with, Mark. And this is what I'm talking about with Acid. I mean, he doesn't look good right now. His attitude's questionable, but, I mean, this guy can go, and he just outsmarted Matt Seidel, tricking him right there.
Well, he took advantage of the youngster's mistake. I don't know if he really outsmarted him, as he just has a little bit more experience in Seidel. Yeah, you gotta wonder what's going through Trent Acid's mind. Former ROH Tag Team Champion. You know, it was really one of the, as we're on our 50th show, a lot of people remember that they were one of the foundations of the tag team division.
Don't forget, too, Trent Acid had those great matches against Homicide and Wrestle Rave. It was absolutely brutal in 2003, and he's just trying to kickstart things, it seems like. And I'm not sure where he's going with his ring attire or his attitude or his king of the multi-person matches. But Seidel, on the other hand, showing some fire here. Seidel with a world of potential, learning his lessons, and a victory here could really propel him up the card. Trent Acid, though, the definite favorite.
Here's one lesson that Matt Seidel desperately needs to learn, is he's got to quit, and he just did it again, he's got to quit dropping his head early. If you'll go back and look at the early parts of this match, he keeps dropping his head early. That time, Trent Acid took advantage of it.
Acid absolutely on fire right now. Don't forget about that Samoa Joe match where Trent Acid was hurt early in the match, August the 7th, and that was kind of the end of the momentum for Trent Acid. He never really got things going after that. But the cocky cover, it's going to take more than that to defeat Matt Seidel. Acid having some words for Daisy Hayes. I'd like to have some words with her, too. And I don't know what Acid is doing now.
I thought the ROH Human Resources Department told you to quit making those comments.
You got to watch out for those lawsuits, I know. And now Acid scooping up Seidel. A reversal, though. Acid catches them into an abdominal stretch. Nicely done by Trent Acid.
Nice counter, but not really good execution of the abdominal stretch. He needs to, instead of screwing around with the crowd, he needs to lock the hands.
He needs some focus. There's no doubt Trent Acid has all the ability in the world.
And that's what he gets. He didn't have the leg grapevine, didn't have the hands locked, and a couple of drop kicks and enziguri by Seidel, and Seidel's right back into this match.
This would be a huge upset if Seidel could defeat someone like Trent Acid, and Seidel's feeling it. A little indecisive on what to do next, though. This is that inexperience.
Boy, he's waiting way too long.
And he paid the price. Both men struggling. No, Acid knocked off. Acid fires back, but Seidel right there, blow for blow.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any base to put any real authority behind those shots.
Now they were having little effect on Acid. That's having
that'll have some effect on Acid.
Big impact by Matt Seidel.
Double stomp to the chest by Seidel after, know Tim Rattay can probably appreciate what Trent Acid just went through, and then just get double stomped all the way from the second rope to the floor. Seidel takes the big risk. You gotta like the rookie that's willing to take a big risk, throw some caution to the wind. He knows he's the underdog here, so he's willing to take some chances that a more experienced wrestler might not take.
Seidel trying to make the most of this opportunity. That's what it's all about in ROH. Getting the hungriest, the best athletes here, and having them make the most of those opportunities. Beautifully done by Seidel, but Acid catches him. Showing Matt Seidel with authority why he's the veteran.
For the referee, notice how quickly the referee moved into position to make sure that Seidel was still conscious and could continue. I think the referee was really worried about Seidel's safety after that move. He just got planted into the guardrail.
How can you not? Very good job by Gary Moore. And now Trent Acid, we are seeing that cocky side, taking his time. He thinks that he's got this one in hand.
You know, Trent Acid hasn't won enough matches lately to be this cocky. If Trent Acid's got a match won, he needs to finish it off, and that's what he gets.
Seidel, every time you think he's down, he keeps coming back.
Looks like he wants to belly him off the rope.
I've seen him get wins with that belly to belly off the top before, but Acid catches him, plants him. Sit down, Gourd Buster.
Again, you've got to move in quicker for the cover.
Acid's just trying to toy with him. He's trying to make a point. And Acid misses. Seidel once again showing signs of life. Seidel trying to muster up that courage. And he scores! Cover!
Oh, I thought he had it with the corkscrew.
Most of these people in Dayton thought that was it. Gary Moore here showing them now it's just a 2 count.
Boy, it's been a trademark for 50 shows of ROH, Jimmy, that the favorite doesn't always win. That the young guy and the hungry guy has pulled. How many upsets have you seen in ROH?
This is what ROH is all about, giving the young talent a chance to do what they do best. And that's what Matt Seidel's doing here. Acid though lands on his feet. Super kick. Oh, this is what Acid. No, he plants him. I thought he was going for that inverted brainbuster that he finishes people off with. Beautifully done. Cover. Seidel kicks out.
Again, wanted to pose for the crowd when he could have hooked that far leg and put him away. It's not a question of Trent Acid's talent. It's a question of where the hell is his mind.
The people in Dayton really enjoying this one. Now Acid looks like he's going to go for that inverted brain buster. We've seen him gain one victory after another with it. Seidel hooks him. He got the 3! What an upset!
Rocky. You know, it's best when you want to get a secret weapon, you find out the weaknesses of your opponent. And who would know better than a man who came up with me in the very same dojo, the very same way, that did many of the same things. But you see, Rocky Romero, there's one difference between me and you. And that's where you've always been an exceptional wrestler. I've always been the best. And tonight, Rocky, you'll find out why I'm the best. Because I'm Samoa Joe. I am pro wrestling. And I'll still be your Ring of Honor world champion.
Being accompanied by Becky and Lindsay from West Ohio, New York City, at a combined weight of 407 pounds, representing Special K, Angel
Look at that, Mark. Special K is shaking hands. Dixie and Angel Dust have never shook hands before. They're actually showing respect to the code of honor. This whole losing streak must really be getting to them. They must be serious about leaving that partying lifestyle behind and getting successful in the ring. Wow.
It's going to be Delirious starting out for Delirious and Jimmy Jacobs. And you've got to, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. And Special K really has tried to do some things differently here. When you say get rid of the party lifestyle, does that mean not using the exotic substances as much?
It seems that's the direction that Angel Dust and Dixie are going in, but I do have to comment that you see Lacey out here at ringside and her boyfriend Izzy. They're not quite following the same philosophy that Angel Dust and Dixie are right now. Izzy unable to be here tonight because, well, I'll just be blunt and honest. He's on a bad trip right now.
So there's no truth to that rumor it was a bad reaction to penicillin?
There's a lot more than penicillin that he took. Yeah. As Angel Dust now with knees to Delirious. And you know, it's really such a shame when you got someone of the talent of Izzy and the fans are deprived of seeing him here tonight because of that outside the ring activity. And look at Lacey. I mean, you can tell she doesn't even care about being here at ringside. I mean, look at that sourpuss on her face. That's a nice submission hold by Delirious, the man with the lizard face.
Yeah, you got Delirious in the ring, who may be the one guy more unpredictable and more unusual than Special K.
I thought you were going to say Jimmy Jacobs, as he is a very unpredictable, and it's hard to tell where he's coming from, for the lack of a better term. I mean, that's a guy without both oars in the water, and you're dealing with Delirious and Jimmy Jacobs on the same team, and neither of them have any oars in the water. What's Delirious doing now? He's getting a pin combination, 2 counts.
Well, Delirious looking good here, and I said this on our last broadcast. I think Jimmy Jacobs may be the most improved wrestler in ROH over the last few months.
The master of the Huss, if you notice, he's getting away from the Huss, though. He, too, is trying to get a little more serious. As there's a nice double team by this new duo. Delirious, nice clothesline, and Jacobs follows with one of his own. Angel Dust very frustrated. And here comes Dixie for the first time, and he's getting kiboshed.
Well, and the referee seems to be letting both men go here a little bit. Looks like Todd Sinclair, not with a lot of success, is trying to take control of this match.
Delirious is just whacked out. I guess, have you heard anything about this lizard face that he has? I mean, I've never seen the man without a mask, and that's the rumors going on, is that he wears it because he's got the face of a lizard man.
Well, but some of the female fans seem to want to know more than the male fans, and I'm not quite sure why that is.
Look at Lacey. She is absolutely disgusted with Dixie and Angel Dust. Of course, Special K has been having a lot of internal problems lately, particularly between Becky and Lacey.
Well, and that's exactly what you don't need when you're in the middle of a losing streak, is a couple of women having their own little soap opera on the outside of the ring. It's hard enough to win matches in ROH. Yeah, it's hard enough to win matches in ROH when you're straight and when you're focused and when all your attention is on your opponents. But when you're having the little cat fight thing going on the outside, and there's a reason WCW dropped the women's division. It wasn't that people didn't want to see the women's matches. It was the women were too much of a pain in the ass in the locker room.
That's what we're seeing with Lacey and Becky as they are just tearing Special K apart. You see Becky yelling at Lacey right now.
I'm sorry, did I say all that out loud?
There goes the tag. Here comes Angel Dust. The next step for these guys is getting some real names. What kind of name is Angel Dust?
Hey, at least they got ring gear, kinda. At least they have wrestling boots.
They are making an effort, even though they're using some underhanded tactics right there. Angel Dust with the choke. Some desperation showing there. Delirious trying to make his way to the corner. The new duo of Delirious and Jimmy Jacobs. These two guys are so odd, so unusual that they decided, hey, maybe we could be a good tag team, and that's why you're seeing them together here.
Either that or nobody else would team with them.
That might be a good point, as there's a backbreaker by Angel Dust. Real quick, I have to go over the code of honor as we're about to have a cover here. 2 count. There are 3 laws of honor in the code of honor. They measure what kind of person you are. If you're a man of respect, a man of integrity, you will follow those laws of honor and respect the code of honor. And the 3 laws of honor are: shake hands before and after the match, respect the officials, and that means don't try to harm the officials, don't attack the referees. So we have a nice double team there by Special K. Look at that arch in the back of Delirious. And finally, we have keep the playing field fair and level. That means no outside interference, no using foreign objects, none of that kind of stuff. There is your code of honor, and you are going to start seeing more of an emphasis on the code of honor. Kind of got pushed on the back burner with all the crazy happenings in 2004 here in ROH, but as we get set for 2005, you are going to see more of an emphasis on the code of honor, and more of an emphasis on respecting the rules and following the rules, such as making sure the legal man is pinned in tag team matches.
In other words, you just got tired of hearing me complain about that.
As there's Delirious now, back elbows, and he gets pulled down by the mask. Well, you know, you have to have some rules, you have to have some laws. A lot of these people, a lot of wrestling fans, they grew up on ECW. A lot of these wrestlers are heavily influenced by ECW, and there were no rules in ECW. But you go back to the days of the NWA, the days of AWA, the great territories, the rules were respected and followed, and they meant something, and we are going to try to bring that back here in ROH.
Yeah, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but some of it goes back to Mick Foley. And Mick Foley, the way that he conducted himself in the ring.
Well, Ricky Steamboat has something to say about that on October the 2nd. That's another subject for another matter. It's Delirious now fighting back, showing some signs of life. Misses the enziguri and gets taken off his feet by Dixie. We got a cover.
Should be pointed out, Dixie.
You are right though, Mark. That does, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was just thinking about it, and that does go back to the heart of the Mick Foley, Ricky Steamboat issue. The hardcore versus pure wrestling issue is the rules and the lack of rules that we saw in the 90s.
Oh my goodness! Big leg drop off the top rope.
Beautiful double team. Gets the streak broken. Jimmy Jacobs making the save.
You know, we spent a lot of time talking about the losing streak and about the unnecessary appendages at ringside, but it should be pointed out that Special K has dominated this match. They work fluidly as a team, and you know.
Angel Dust unleashing those kicks, and you made a good point, Mark. These guys are working like a well-oiled machine. Perhaps the losing streak will be broken against the new duo.
And Izzy is, of course, a former ROH Tag Team Champion. You know, there was a time when these guys were a force in ROH.
Izzy and Dixie were tag team champions, and they recently took Ricky Reyes and Rocky Romero to the limit at Scramble Cage Melee. In fact, Angel Dust and Izzy took Romero and Reyes to the limit at Midnight Express Reunion. But right now it's Delirious fighting back, and he gets cut off one more time. They get a 5 count. Ooh.
Boy, I think he got the hands more than he got the head, but still very dangerous move. Now I think Special K starting to show a little bit of frustration that they haven't been able to put Delirious away. Give Delirious some credit here, as he's been getting pummeled for about 10 minutes now and still keeps finding ways to escape.
Maybe it's that lizard man power.
Well, you're all about the lizard power, aren't you?
I am just fascinated by this. I gotta see this guy's face. Angel Dust going for the blockbuster, but Delirious moves out of the way. Delirious saving himself from that springboard blockbuster. Now scoops up Angel Dust with his last bit of strength and spikes him down.
And smartly immediately rolls over to the corner. Jimmy Jacobs needs to find the corner and light there and get ready for the tag.
Jacobs, this looks going to be a house of fire. He's a powder keg ready to explode. You think I could fit in one more cliche there, Nolte?
Well, yeah, but I hope he doesn't blow up on the apron waiting for the tag. I hope he saves some of that energy for the comeback.
We'll see right now. Jacobs coming in airborne with a big chop off the top. He's taking it to Dixie.
Jimmy Jacobs has had some terrific matches lately, but one thing he hasn't been able to do much of lately is get his hand raised. Now he's got an opportunity to reverse his own mini losing streak.
He has impressed Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and that's as high a compliment as it gets. Blind tag in by Angel Dust.
Boy, Special K looked very sharp tonight.
This has to be it. They gotta break the losing streak tonight. They're near the makeshift team. Electric chair! Oh, I thought that was it. Delirious with the save. It would have been it if Delirious didn't make the save.
And give Delirious credit, the beating that he took for as long as he had to take it, still had the presence of mind to make the save.
Angel Dust is an underrated hard hitter as he unleashed that chop, which Jacobs corner to corner to get met with a back elbow.
And you're right, Jimmy Jacobs came in with all the momentum, and Special K took his best shots and took control back of the match, but there's the missile dropkick by Delirious on a new tag.
Dixie in now.
Hey, get out of the ring, come on!
Sinclair trying to get control as it's beginning to break down. Beautiful double team by Special K. Dixie and Delirious are the legal men. And a 2 count.
Oh, he didn't hook the leg, Jimmy.
Look at Lacey. How apathetic does she look at ringside?
Oh, who cares? Frankly, let her go buy a seat, get some popcorn.
Well, you really have a misogynistic problem there, Mark, but that's another issue for another time, as we have Delirious fighting both members of Special K.
No, I don't like beating at all.
And there's Jimmy Jacobs tagging himself in.
Heads up move by Jimmy Jacobs.
Big double team there, a frog splash. At the same time, Angel Dust spiked on his head, and this could be it.
He's not legal!
No, look at that. Todd Sinclair saying Angel Dust is not the legal man. Good call right there by Todd Sinclair.
And give Dixie credit for having the presence of the mind not to wait for the referee to make the call, made the save regardless. Instead of playing referee, he did a smart wrestling move there.
And Dixie is in there with Delirious, who is not the legal man. Delirious, though, dominated on Dixie. Sinclair's got to get him out of there, though. Dixie will go behind. Lance Delirious. We got to cover.
No! It's not legal! He's not the legal man!
And there's Sinclair saying Delirious isn't the legal man. Dixie in shock.
Jimmy Jacobs from behind!
Who is the legal man? Oh, he's going for the contra code. Back elbow stops Dixie. Scores with the contra code. Cover.
And Delirious stops Angel Dust from making the save.
The losing streak continues for Special K. An impressive victory for Jimmy Jacobs and Delirious. underway in this one, and someone better tell Chad Collier to take off his robe. Collier is whacked out of his mind. Look at that promo we saw earlier.
Was that in English? Can we get English to English subtitles for Chad Collier's promo?
Collier is a great technical wrestler, but he is whacked out of his mind, and he wants to avenge the defeat he suffered at the hands of Jay Lethal last time here in Dayton.
Boy, that is the only thing Chad Collier has talked about in every time I've seen him since Dayton was the fact that he lost to Jay Lethal, and Jay Lethal made him tap out.
Even more embarrassing is that this is Collier's hometown, his home area, his stomping grounds, and Lethal scored the first big victory of his career by making Collier tap in that match.
Jay Lethal, of course, as most people know, is a protege of Samoa Joe, and he's taken some beatings because of that association lately, hasn't he? He's probably glad to be in the ring with somebody that wants to beat him in a wrestling match as opposed to just pound him to send a message to Samoa Joe.
Low-key put a beating on him, punished him last show, Midnight Express reunion. Lethal, though, almost scored the upset. It was a great match. Lethal so close, and in the end, not only did Low-key disrespect Lethal after the match by slapping him, and this was after the match was over, after Low-key won, but then he kicked Jay Lethal in the head. It was feared Lethal suffered a concussion. Fortunately, he did not. He was back in action, but he did have one heck of a headache for a couple of days.
Boy, this is a big match for Chad Collier for a variety of reasons. Jay Lethal, number one, is one up on him. Number two, Jay Lethal had the impressiveness showing against Low Key. Chad Collier, because he's made such an issue of this match, he didn't come out and quite guarantee a win over Jay Lethal, but he might as well have. If he loses this match, you got to wonder what his future in ROH is.
I would have to say that he'd have no future in ROH. This is a guy that needs some victories, a very talented athlete, but right now you don't see him on every Ring of Honor show. He's only on a show here or there, so he needs a win to get on more shows, and if he suffers a loss, well, we might not see him again. You know, I have to ask you though, Mark, Jay Lethal, he was kicked in the head by Low-Key after that match. It was a very similar kick that Low-Key gave Jay Briscoe all the way back at Testing the Limit on August the 7th, and we have still yet to see the Briscoes. I mean, they were suspended for that riot on 8/7, but that suspension is over, and I don't know why the Briscoes aren't here. Do you have any idea?
I don't. I don't know what the deal is. You mentioned the kick. Those are dangerous kicks by Low-Key for a variety of reasons. They call it a concussion. That's way too nice of a term. What they should be calling that is a brain injury. You can't see straight. Yeah, I remember Chris Miller, who was a quarterback for the Denver Broncos, suffered a number of concussions. He told a story in Sports Illustrated that he'd have to call his wife on the way home from practice and get directions back to his house because he couldn't remember anything. Chad Collier, it looks like he may be applying that head scissors, knowing that Jay Lethal has taken some punishment to the head in the last match. Chad Collier, as I mentioned, an absolutely brilliant technical wrestler. This Chad Collier is one of the guys that I think should be a staple in the pure wrestling division. Of course, is a product of the Malenko brothers, a personal protege of the Malenko brothers. You know, everybody knows Dean. I don't think people appreciate what a great shooter Joe Malenko is as well. And I think Chad Collier, with just a little bit of guidance and a little bit of momentum, and again, notice the back elbow to the head again of Jay Lethal. But Chad Collier, I think, is somebody that matches up very well with anybody in the pure wrestling division.
Collier did have perhaps the most underrated match of the year in Ring of Honor at Death Before Dishonor Part 1, which he lost to Rocky Romero. But just a match that's getting rave reviews on the message boards. Very, very underrated. One of the greatest opening matches in Ring of Honor history. And right there, Lethal moves out of the way. And now he sends Collier to the floor with that leg lariat.
This is Jay Lethal's only real offense of the night so far.
He scores with that tope. Lethal's come close to that big victory in the past. He did score it over Chad Collier. He's taken the likes of Low-Key, of CM Punk to the limit. He defeated Matt Striker at Glory by Honor 3 to cost Striker his plane ticket to the shows on the East Coast. Can he defeat Collier again? There's the cross body. 2 count by ref Gary Moore here. Jay Lethal, you have to watch out for that Dragon Suplex. It's a move that almost even beat Too Cold Scorpio back at Testing the Limits. Alex Shelley was the one that denied Lethal that victory. Lethal has had his problems with Alex Shelley in the past.
Who hasn't had their problem with Alex Shelley lately?
Good point. And Lethal showing some agility. Collier, though, goes right for the knee.
And that may be trying to set up that Texas Cloverleaf.
Collier has made many men tap for that Texas Cloverleaf, and he always loves to weaken the leg before he goes for it.
Has Chad Collier put too much pressure on himself in this match?
There's no telling what's going on in Chad Collier's head. And the guy's wacky. He's crazy. You saw it with his promo. But the pressure is definitely on Collier in this one. He cannot afford a loss here. On the other hand, Jay Lethal, he would like to get some momentum going after the striker victory, after taking low-key to the limit. And a victory here would definitely put momentum in Lethal's favor and really propel him up the rankings, and perhaps even get him into the contenders ring.
One thing I really respect about Jay Lethal, and I think it's wise, well, I don't know if you can call getting kicked in the head by low-key wise, but the fact that Jay Lethal has made it a point to get into the ring with wrestlers that frankly are better than he is right now. Because if you're Jay Lethal, you don't get better by taking on wrestlers with your level of experience. You don't get better by taking on prelim wrestlers or wrestlers that you know that you can beat. You improve as a wrestler by taking on the likes of CM Punk, of Low-Key, of Too Cold Scorpio, of Alex Shelley, and in this case, of Chad Collier.
Very good point, Mark. You're just a fountain of good information tonight. As Collier now trying to stretch out that leg of Lethal while putting pressure on the neck.
The old Tower of London, the old standby of Lord Al Hayes. And that, believe it or not, that's a submission move, or at least it was in the 70s.
Look at Lethal. You see the pain on his face as he's trying anything to get out of it.
And floats into the figure 4 leg lock.
Beautifully done by the technician, Chad Collier.
One thing that Chad Collier does as well as anybody in ROH is the way he chain wrestles. Notice how effortlessly he floats from one move to another move.
Lethal trying desperately to turn it over, almost there, but no. Chad Collier is definitely somebody that can challenge John Walters for the pure title if he gets some momentum going and a win streak going. Walters unable to be here this weekend due to other commitments, so this is a good opportunity for one of these men to move into contendership for that belt. As there you see Lethal finally turn it over, Collier though reaching the ropes. Lethal clutching at that knee.
Well, Chad Collier, at some point, Chad Collier's got to figure out a way to beat Jay Lethal. Looks like he's setting him up for the Cloverleaf. Jay Lethal, look how quickly Jay Lethal recognized it and how quickly he got to the ropes. Jay Lethal gets a little bit better every match.
When you have Samoa Joe teaching you what to do, that's about as good as it gets, and you better learn.
Well, I bet that's no fun being around Samoa Joe in training.
He's like a drill sergeant. He's the best, and he wants his proteges to be the best. With Collier now getting a little desperate, slamming that knee on the apron, and of course that's the part of the apron where there is no covering, just some steel underneath there, and that steel is meeting the back of Lethal's knee.
Chad Collier has wrestled close to mistake-free in this match. The times that Jay Lethal has had the offense, he's had to earn it. Chad Collier was one of these wrestlers that very rarely beats himself.
For a guy who's as whacked out as he is a very intelligent competitor. As now, Lethal slides over! Oh, just a 2 count.
Again, it's Jay Lethal that used his balance to grab that. Now Jay Lethal drives that sternum into the knee, but Jay Lethal had taken so much punishment on that knee, I think he damaged himself as much.
He was able to follow up, though, with that neck breaker.
Now both men are down.
Don't forget, Mark, is that all Lethal has to do is hit that dragon suplex, and it could be all over.
I think Chad Collier's having a hard time breathing right now.
Lethal, though, might have a hard time planting that knee to get the power he needs to take Collier over in that dragon suplex at this point. Chop. Lethal responds. And look at that fire by Lethal. Takes Gar off his feet.
I don't think he's getting as much authority authority into those shots as he wants because he can't get any balance on doing it with one leg.
That was basically a one-leg backdrop as you saw him. His other leg lifted off the apron.
Jay Lethal, a lot of heart and a lot of pride here.
Oh, Collier cuts him off with that forearm. Enziguri! Lethal saves himself one more time. Collier down.
Jay Lethal having a hard time standing on his own now. Actually, I like this move. I mean, you're having a hard time getting your balance. Why not come off the top?
And he scores!
Connects with a diving headbutt. Hooks the near leg. Gotta hook that back leg.
So close. Lethal has Collier down though. Can he follow up? A one-legged moonsault. What heart Lethal showing. Fisherman's Buster. Lethal kicks out. Gary Moore showing it's just a 2 count.
I'm not even surprised when Jay Lethal kicks out of these moves because I've seen him wrestle so valiantly against other stars the caliber of Chad Collier.
Collier trying to perhaps a back suplex a German. Lethal goes behind. He's got him hooked. He's got that dragon hooked. Collier fighting for his life. Oh, Collier breaks the full Nelson. And did you see him hook the leg there?
Oh, this is, look at the flow.
Package. Almost.
That's Jay Lethal studying video.
Lethal soared over the kick attempt by Collier. Lethal continues to frustrate Collier, plants him with the DDT. Cover!
That time he did hook the far leg. Collier doing well to get out at 2.
Collier proving why he's a top-notch competitor by kicking out. Lethal on one leg.
At this point, you can see not only the physical training that Jay Lethal has undertaken, but also the time he's spending studying film and studying his opponent. As apparently he's scouted Chad Collier very well and has had some answers for some things that Chad Collier's been trying to do in the latter part of this match.
He is caught on the top rope though right now. Collier hooking him, perhaps a superplex. Lethal trying to fight out with those strikes to the side. And yes, he pushes Collier off. Once again, frustrating the veteran. Oh, Collier's going straight for the leg. Dragon screw! That's one of the most dangerous moves to the knee.
And look at Collier, how quickly he sets that up.
He's got the cloverleaf stitched in the middle of the ring. Ripping at the tendons in the knee of Jay Lethal. Lethal, look at him. Look at the pain on his face. That's it. Lethal taps.
Anybody would have had to have tapped out on that.
No shame in that defeat. What a victory for Chad Collier. And what a great pure wrestling match we just witnessed. Moff and Whitmer, Logan DeVito, the Carnage crew. The fight is on here in Dayton.
Oh, it is on.
This started out as a friendly rivalry, and it has increased and increased with the violence. And now we're seeing it right here in Dayton with chairs. And these teams are swinging for the fences. Sinclair trying to get some order.
Whoa!
Moff taking a swing at him.
Boy, if you'd have been connected with that, you'd have been short a referee.
And there's the bell. Sinclair ringing the bell. This is not a no DQ match. We talked earlier about the rules being enforced now.
This is absolutely the right call by Sinclair.
No doubt.
Sinclair has disqualified both teams.
Double disqualification by Sinclair. I mean, you hate to see a match like this end so quickly. The fans paid to see it, but Sinclair made the right call. Not a no DQ match, not a bunkhouse match. This is a straight up match.
Don't blame.
Oh, Mick Foley's here. Mick Foley said he would bring his Ring of Hardcore to Dayton. We weren't sure what he meant by it. And he's surprising everyone by being on the scene now. Let's see what he's got to say.
Like celebrating because I don't know about all of you, but I most certainly did not come all the way to Dayton, Ohio. To see a double disqualification. If you feel like you did come to Dayton, Ohio to see a double disqualification, then simply raise your hands in the air and say, I am a gutless pansy. You want to see hardcore wrestling? You want to see these four guys get it on with no rules? You want to see these four guys get it on with a referee who knows how to call a hardcore match? That man is not you. To referee in the state of Ohio. Let me take you back in time to August 2001. Women's bra and panties match. Cleveland, Ohio, your referee that night, hardcore legend, Mick Foley. Every year, I'm licensed to referee in the state of Ohio, including this year, which means you don't tell me what to do. I will be the referee, and you don't like it, you'll bring it down. I'm ready to take a hike because I don't want you in my way.
Foley making himself referee for this match. Jason Thompson clear to the back, making this a hardcore rules match.
And here he comes. He's bringing his toys. Here's the toy box.
Ring of Hardcore is coming to Dayton. Moff and Whitmer, Logan DeVito, it's on.
Well, you didn't have to ask either one of these teams twice, did you?
These two teams, the hatred has been escalating between them. It started innocently enough at testing the limit, and has since got more and more violent, and it exploded at Midnight Express Reunion. Dan Moff not on that show with an injured shoulder, and Logan DeVito took the opportunity to destroy BJ Whitmer in a garbage can with baseball bats. DeVito now brawling with Moff on the floor. Luke sending Whitmer to the outside. Foley's going to let it all go in this one.
speaking of great moments in ROH history and the ROH 50 shows, I think you've got to include the Prophecies feud, which they won over the Second City Saints.
No one will forever forget about that Chicago street fight. That one, of course, the Saints getting the last laugh there. So many battles, and you want to talk about Dayton, talk about that June 12th match, the Ultimate Endurance. Moff and Whitmer got hardcore in that one. Foley opened a lot of eyes on Glory by Honor 3 when he dubbed ROH meaning Ring of Hardcore after he saw some of the hardcore action on the DVDs. Ricky Steamboat, a very interesting response to him at Midnight Express Reunion, saying ROH was about honor, it was about pure wrestling, technical wrestling, not hardcore. Foley even went so far as to call, Steamboat even went so far as to call it garbage wrestling and to call Foley a stuntman. And those are words you just don't say to Foley. Loke now taking it to Whitmer. Somewhere Allison Danger has to be smiling. Do you have any idea where she is tonight, Mark?
Oh, the FCC would be all over my ass. I think what was on my mind about Allison Danger.
She's probably in an insane asylum. She probably finally got checked in, got some treatment, absolutely delusional, and wanted to see Moff and Whitmer get destroyed.
Either that or the fleet's in.
And we have a table in the ring.
I don't know what to make of Mick Foley so aggressively just nominating himself Emperor of the ROH ring and making matches and creating his own rules.
He's Mick Foley. He's Cactus Jack. He can do that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. When a legend, when a superstar like Mick Foley wants to come to Ring of Honor, he's going to get the first-class treatment, and he deserves the respect to get to do what he wants. A whippin' Whitmer takes the steel.
This is fucking hardcore!
You know DeVito loves a fight like this.
I have a comment about both of these teams. I think both of these teams are certainly good enough that they could beat Rocky Romero and Reyes for the ROH Tag Team Championship, but they seem so consumed with different feuds. Both these teams, I think, would rather fight than be in a wrestling match, and I think it costs them when it comes to title shots.
These teams can wrestle, no doubt about that. Moff and Whitmer, in fact, almost winning the tag titles at Glory by Honor 3. As there you see a unique swinging DDT by Loke. DeVito busted open. Moff is busted open. The blood is flowing here. The thing is, Mark, what you have here is a situation where this started out as a friendly rivalry between two brawling tag teams, and they just pissed each other off so much that now it's broken down into a fight.
Oh, great. So Mick Foley says this match is hardcore. Now you can use that kind of language in the commentary. Now you're going to use hardcore language.
It's Ring of Hardcore. Just like that chair across the forehead of Loke. Moff is losing a lot of blood, though. Oh.
Hey, I saw the Chicago street fight. If anybody, I swear to God, I think Moff gets better when he's bleeding.
DeVito now pummeling Moff. DeVito's a guy who thrives in these kind of elements. The Carnage crew have been hardcore since day one in ROH. Who will forget their matches against the Hit Squad when Dan Moff was a member in 2002? The Natural Born Sinners in 2002. The Bunkhouse match at Crowning the Champion, the 5th ever Ring of Honor show, put hardcore on the map in ROH.
Well, and here's where I think I'm going to disagree. I know it's a political year, and I may, if I sound a little bit too much like an apologist. Oh, look at that! He's got a tire iron! He's gouging BJ Whitmer with a tire iron!
Foley loving every second of it as Loke tries to split the flesh open on Whitmer, and it looks like he's successful. Whitmer, a crimson mask.
Thank you, Gordon.
Loke now setting Whitmer up. Just stomping him as Moff and DeVito battle on the other side of the ring.
If you want to know how tough BJ Whitmer is, this is a personal protege of Harley Race.
DeVito spills over the guardrail from that right hand. Both Moff and DeVito a bloody mess.
Moff and DeVito are bleeding so badly that really you can't identify them by their faces right now. You can only identify them by their ring outfits.
DeVito with a chair across the back of Moff.
And it should be pointed out that Loke and DeVito didn't just declare themselves the Carnage Crew. They had to fight for that ring name. They took that ring name.
The Carnage Crew felt slighted by Foley when Foley did not name them as part of the Ring of Hardcore when he gave that speech at Glory by Honor 3. He mentioned Jay Briscoe almost bleeding to death at the At Our Best show. He mentioned that Chicago street fight at Death Before Dishonor Part 2. He did not mention the Carnage Crew, and as a result, the Carnage Crew feels slighted.
Yeah, at the risk of straddling the fence between Steamboat and Foley, here's what I think separates ROH from other organizations is, yes, ROH does have some violent matches, and dear God, this is going to be one more of them. But it has violence matches for a purpose. It's feuds that escalate into violence as opposed to just barbed wire in the second match for no reason whatsoever. And in defense of what Mick Foley talks about, Ricky Steamboat seems to have a little bit of a selective memory. There's the cover by Moff. Home run swing.
Foley with the 2 count.
But, you know, it's not like they didn't have cage matches, barbed wire matches, chain matches in Ricky Steamboat's era. Ask Ricky Steamboat.
An exploder! Cover! Low kicks out. That was not the wrist clutch exploder. You make a good point about Steamboat. I saw him and Don Morocco in a bloodbath in Boston Garden back in the 80s. As now there's a Northern Lights by DeVito. I think what Steamboat's main issue was, though, is Foley coming in and calling ROH Ring of Hardcore, trying to change the perception, and that's not something Steamboat wants to see. Steamboat on 2 count right there. Steamboat wants to see ROH be known for its pure wrestling, for its technical wrestling. He doesn't want to see hardcore dominate the landscape, and maybe that's what he thinks Foley's trying to do. That's something to keep an eye on, but right now we have 4 guys bleeding to death in this ring, beating the tar out of each other over pure hatred, and Mick Foley's urging them on, and this crowd's eating it up.
Well, this crowd is just coming unglued, and for good reason. And now they're just going to, just on their knees in the center of the ring, now coming to their feet while trading chops the whole time.
If you compare this to the very first match they had at Testing the Limits, you'll see how much the hatred escalated. From Moff and Whitmer going after DeVito's knees at Glory by Honor 3, to their trash can on the last show on BJ Whitmer. This is what you get. Logan a bad spot now. He is spiked into the mat. Cover.
Yeah, notice Foley doesn't check to see who the legal man is.
It doesn't matter, it's hardcore rules. Mick Foley.
Moff signaling for the lariat.
One endorsement by Mick Foley. And this is a traditional double team. Oh, DeVito tripping Moff, saving his partner. Dino suplex by Loke.
You know, now Ricky Steamboat was here. He'd point out that every time that one team needed to turn the tide, they've done it with a suplex or a wrestling move.
We have seen some quality wrestling moves in this match, including, is it? Yes! The Carnage Flex. Cover. Foley only counting 2. Oh, Moff's got him hooked for that Alf Nelson suplex. Lowe fights out of it and gets clotheslined out of the ring for his efforts.
Is there anybody tougher in ROH than Dan Moff? And I hope Samoa Joe doesn't hear that comment, but I've never seen anybody take as brutal of a beating and continue to come at you as much as Dan Moff does.
No doubt about that. And what's Moff doing with that table? He is setting it up. DeVito alone in the ring with both Moff and Whitmer. That's not where he wants to be right now. A low blow. Moff with the cannonball, and if you notice, he isolated DeVito's head on that. He went straight for the head of DeVito. As a result, he caught that table and he is down, but he just sent DeVito's head first into that table. That could cause a concussion.
The crowd is stunned right now. They certainly didn't expect to see this level of violence.
Whitmer now rolling Loke into the ring. Foley just watching it all. There's a quick... Oh, DeVito somehow kicking out. Moff had a cover on him there. Just kind of rolled over on him.
Not really a cover, just more like drape the arm over the chest. Moff may be hurt worse than DeVito is.
There's that garbage can.
Whitmer's the only one upright at this point in the match.
Oh, this is what they did to Whitmer at the last show with baseball bats. They have absolutely brutalized Loke. Cover. Foley counts the pin in the garbage can. I guess that Loke's shoulders weren't down. And Moff and Whitmer win this violent chapter of the feud as Mick Foley holds their hands up in victory.
I think I know hardcore when I see it. Yeah. And that, my friends, was hardcore. ROH, Ring of Hardcore. Yeah. Thank you all for coming out here. We got a hell of a show lined up. We got a title match, 6-man. It's going to be unbelievable wrestling. I've said it across the nation. This is every bit as good as WWE if you like the sports. Signed some pretty big checks for me, so don't get me wrong, I love WWE, but it's nice to know there's an alternative. It's nice to know you got guys working their butts off there. It's nice to know there's a group that believes in the sports and not sports entertainment. Thanks so much for coming out here. Have a nice day. He's a certifiable wrestling legend. And a few weeks ago, if he stepped into the ring with me, I'd say it was a pleasure to be in the same ring. Then not only can you go up and shoot your mouth off in Philadelphia and bury me in my style of wrestling, but even worse, you come here and you're killing my pop in Dayton, Ohio. You sure have got everybody's attention. This is Mick Foley, everybody. Okay, with this garbage can here tonight, this is sure one beautiful classic example of a match we just Mike Foley's my favorite wrestler. The last time in Philadelphia, I hate to directed a message to you. Okay, hardcore wrestling is what you wanted to call it, ROH. ROH means Ring of Honor. You wanted to call it Ring of Hardcore. I also said that anybody can be a stuntman in this business, that it takes a wrestler, a pro wrestler, to put match together to entertain this man. I call it hardcore wrestling, garbage wrestling. Well, you sure you put the icing on the cake tonight? We have got a legitimate garbage can that a man got pinned in. And you counted them out, 1, 2, 3. I guess you heard my message and you just wanted to put the icing on the cake a little bit and says, oh, there's a garbage can, I'm going to count this guy out. Yeah, there's a garbage can used in tonight's match. I counted to 3. The problem with a guy like you, Steamboat, you see a garbage can, that's all you see. Your very limited view of the world. You see a garbage can, it's garbage wrestling. Maybe you weren't out here because I saw the guts and I saw the determination. I saw 4 guys willing to bust their ass, to go the extra mile with these fans because they love what they do. So not only do I disagree with you, but I'll be damned if I'm going to be out here and be lectured on pure wrestling by a guy who dressed up in gills, breathed fire, and carried a laser gun ring. The problem, Steve-O, is you don't seem to know your opposites too well. You see a guy like you, at your age, thinks the polar opposite of hardcore is pure wrestling. See, where I come from, the opposite of hardcore is softcore. And that, my friend, is exactly what you are. You are Ricky the Softcore Dragon. And I'm sure these fans were entertained to watch that. You saw guys wrestling tonight. The opening match, CM, Homicide. What a hell of a match that was. I'm talking about guys that poured their hearts and soul and guts to entertain the fans here tonight who paid damn good money to come watch wrestling and not use a garbage can. Hey, you want to talk about Ricky, the Softcore Dragon? You want to start treading on my track record? You want to start talking about my wrestling history? The matches that I've had with Don Morocco, the matches that I had with Jake the Snake Roberts, the matches that I had with Randy Savage at WrestleMania 3. How about the matches that I've had with 16 times world champion? You deserve every accolade that comes your way. You want to stand out here and talk about your matches with Don Morocco? Go ahead, because you deserve it. You want to talk about your matches with Jake the Snake versus the Little Lizard? Go ahead. Because when the bell rang, you deserved it. You can talk about your match with Randy Macho Man Savage all night, because I've long said it's one of my favorite matches. Time you step into a ring of hardcore and mention the name of Dick Flair, then you and I are going to have a little problem. I'll tell you what. Why don't we find a way to settle this? How about tomorrow night? and I'll bring my hardcore crew, and we'll settle it in Chicago. The sound of my music and these bands chanting my name.
We are here at intermission in Dayton, Ohio. Unbelievable what we just saw in the ring with Mick Foley and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. We're here in CM Punk's locker room. Now tonight, CM Punk, you suffered a vicious attack to that neck in your match earlier tonight against Homicide. After that lariat to the back of your neck, how is the neck feeling? Because tonight, you've got to wrestle again, 6-man tag style.
After the lariat, what about the chair? What about the belt, Homicide? Prazak, you know me better than anybody. Trace, you know this for sure. Right now, my pride hurts more than my neck. And if you think a neck is going to stop me from proving Generation Next exactly why straight edge means I'm better than you, then you got another thing coming. I got big things to worry about. I got to think about my title match. This neck just drives me more. I want to punch Austin Aries right in the face. I want to do horrible things to Alex Shelley. And Jack Evans, I'm going to cripple him. And then his belt tomorrow night in Chicago is coming home with me. I don't care if I have 2 broken legs. I don't care if my neck is sore. Belt's coming home. Chi-Town. CM Punk, World Heavyweight Champion.
A crucial weekend for CM Punk continues here tonight in Dayton.
We are back from intermission for 4-corner survival. Matt Stryker in the yellow, Nigel McGuinness in the blue started it out. Roderick Strong at Generation Next on the outside, along with Josh Daniels.
4 outstanding technical wrestlers.
Hard hitters too.
And look at this, Josh Daniels tags himself in.
This match is definitely going to have ramifications on the contenders ring. Of course, 4-corner survival, the first fall wins it, no elimination rules. There's a stiff shoulder block by Josh Daniels. These guys are about as solid as they come.
These are 4 guys that Ricky Steamboat has gone out of his way to mention in the past. And speaking of Ricky Steamboat, boy, I kind of rode that fence on the commentary for when Mick Foley took over the ring. Ricky Steamboat had a definitive opinion.
Steamboat, he doesn't want to see garbage cans used in ROH, calling it garbage wrestling. mention the name Ric Flair, Mick Foley saying you better not mention that name around me again. I can't wait to see what's going to happen tomorrow night in Chicago when Mick Foley guides his hardcore team against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and his Pure Wrestling team. That's going to be something else. I can't believe the confrontation we just saw in the Ring of Honor ring. Mick Foley and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, two of the all-time greats, two first ballot Hall of Famers, face to face, and you could tell they had a problem with each other. Only in ROH.
Well, and you wonder how much of Steamboat's problem with Foley is because of Flair. Because you got to remember, Ricky Steamboat came on the national scene for two reasons. Number one was his tag team and later his feud with number one Paul Jones, and it was the singles matches against Ric Flair that put him on the map. Ricky Steamboat, tomorrow night in Chicago, will be in the city where he won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship from Ric Flair. So when Foley disrespects Flair, in some ways, he's disrespecting Steamboat.
Ring of Honor is the new king of the shoot interviews, and if you saw Straight Shooting with Mick Foley, you know there is no love lost between Foley and Flair, and that's a shoot. Flair writing about Foley in his book, Foley responding line for line to that with some really harsh comebacks on Flair in that Straight Shooting interview. Something that was just unbelievable to check out at ROHWrestling.com. Flair and Steamboat, they are good friends, and Flair and Foley just hate each other. And then you add to the fact that Steamboat's representing the Pure Wrestling, Foley on the other side of the Hardcore Wrestling, and we just have something else to watch there, as now we have Roderick Strong in. And Nigel McGuinness blind tags himself in. I'm sorry to be taken away from this match, but I just can't believe we saw Foley and Steamboat face to face.
Speaking of legends, Nigel McGuinness's mentor, got to see him backstage a little bit early, the great Les Thatcher.
Always great to have the esteemed Les Thatcher here in attendance. He is right now over by the hard camera enjoying the show. And you got to check out Les's columns over at pwinsider.com. An absolute credit to the wrestling business, a true institution.
Absolutely. Not only was Les a great wrestler, and in my opinion, an underrated commentator, teaming with Gordon Soley in the glory days of Championship Wrestling, but Les may be the best trainer in the business right now.
No doubt about that.
And Nigel McGuinness, one of his proteges, Nigel McGuinness said that professional wrestling saved him from a life of hooliganism. That he was just going to go around and follow soccer riots. Came to America after getting a little bit of trouble with the law in England, and ran into Les Thatcher, and Les kind of channeled Nigel's natural aggression into professional wrestling, and Nigel's turned into an outstanding technical wrestler.
He is on a roll as he just scored the biggest victory of his life at Midnight Express Reunion, pinning Homicide in the middle of the ring. An upset there, and a huge victory for Nigel McGuinness, who is definitely on a roll here in ROH.
Well, now let's see if there's going to be any hangover, because, Jimmy, how many times have you seen this? An upcoming wrestler like Nigel McGuinness scores the big upset, but then can't follow it up, has what we kind of call a hangover. You're still celebrating that one victory, and you lose your focus and your concentration heading into your next match. Plus, that big upset over Homicide has put a little bit of a bullseye on his back in this match, in my opinion.
And he also wants to prove that it wasn't a fluke. He did take John Walters to the limit in a great match at Glory by Honor 3, but he lost that one. Got the win back against Homicide in that huge victory, and now he wants to prove that that was not just a lucky break, a lucky 3 count. He wants to prove he's the real deal, especially now that he's in ROH full-time, as he is one of those guys that earned a job.
And Matt Stryker may be as desperate for a victory as anybody in the ring.
This is a guy, Matt Stryker, who just lost his plane ticket to the East Coast shows. He cannot afford a defeat this weekend. On the outside, you have Roderick Strong at Generation Next, easily the most hated man in this match. And I mean, before you mention that Ricky Steamboat respects these guys,
that's because we're wrestling this in the Midwest and not the East Coast.
Steamboat, though, let me tell you something about Steamboat and Roderick Strong. Steamboat absolutely no respect for Roderick Strong, and Steamboat has his problems with Generation Next, as he will be leading his team against Generation Next later tonight.
How big of jerks are Generation Next that they managed to unite CM Punk and Ricky Steamboat?
That says it all right there as Nigel McGuinness reaches the ropes. Josh Daniels, on the other hand, he's had his moments here in ROH, showed signs of greatness, still a youngster, already achieved success for the 0-1 promotion in Japan, but now he needs that big victory here in Ring of Honor.
Well, John Walters is anxiously awaiting the result of this match. You have to figure that whoever wins this match will probably be considered the leading contender for John Walters' pure title.
No doubt about that. All four of these men fit that pure title contendership role in great fashion, including Nigel McGuinness, as I mentioned, taking Walters to the limit. And I think that McGuinness could defeat Walters in the future, as Roderick Strong, who has pretty much been excluded from this match, finally tags himself in.
Well, I think you're...
Oh, he's just, look at that, insulting to Josh Daniels.
I don't know if I want to sit there and trade shots and slaps with Josh Daniels.
Well, did you see Josh Daniels just baited Roderick Strong into trying to slap him, and he took the tag. Roderick Strong once again excluded from this matchup.
Can you see the pure title on any of four of these men?
No doubt about it.
Yeah,
in fact, we are seeing a rematch here of the second anniversary show, the first pure title tournament between Matt Striker and Josh Daniels. Striker coming up victorious in that previous match.
Josh Daniels, great counter wrestler.
Josh Daniels is a total package. He is as solid as they come. Nigel McGuinness, I believe, just blind tagged himself in. And there's a cover. No, pushed off right into an arm drag by Striker. We have a standoff. Gary Moore trying to get control and doing a good job of it. Strong absolutely begging to come in. McGuinness finally tags in Roderick Strong.
I think McGuinness was a little bit of frustrated getting double teamed by Daniels and Striker a moment ago. And just wants to clear his head.
McGuinness is also the one guy in this match who has not had a problem with Generation Next in the past, as Generation Next attacked Josh Daniels in the past, and they also attacked Matt Striker. In fact, last time in Dayton, they attacked and bloodied Matt Striker.
Roderick Strong, the self-proclaimed messiah of the backbreaker. Maybe have the heaviest hands of anybody in Generation Next.
Strong has a lot of devastating maneuvers in his repertoire. One of the hardest choppers going today. Him and Jack Evans form a perfect tag team against each other. In fact, we'll see him and Jack Evans against Homicide and Rocky Romero tomorrow night in Chicago. That should be something else. And there's one of those chops.
In the immortal words of the great announcer from Mid-South, Danny Williams, who do you root for in a match like that?
Well, I can't wait to see what kind of action we're going to see tomorrow night in Chicago. Right now, though, we have Striker taking it to Strong, wrenching that arm, trying to break it off.
Generation Next, because they are preparing for that six-man tag team match later on in the program, not out here seconding Roderick Strong. Well, you can dust Matt Striker's chest for Roderick Strong's fingerprints.
Blood vessels were breaking there as Nigel McGuinness comes back in.
Oh, Nigel McGuinness would love to trade chops. I still think Nigel McGuinness is at home in a soccer riot as he is in a technical wrestling match.
Roderick Strong, he's having problems with that arm. Nigel McGuinness, of course, he was very effective in working the arm against Homicide, leading to the pin. He has a cravat on now. Strong scoops him up, and look at that, McGuinness holds on.
He was able to counterbalance Strong. So much of technical wrestling is dependent upon balance. Nigel McGuinness, great balance. And that, which you can take some credit for McGuinness's soccer playing in his youth.
It's breaking down into a chop fest here. Matt Striker, though, sneaking his way in with a smirk on his face. It's payback time on Generation Next. That's what happens when you make enemies out of the whole roster. Generation Next loves to play the numbers game, and right now Roderick Strong is a victim of it for the first time. You gotta love it when the tables are turned like that.
I was about to bring this up. This is one of the few times that you're going to be seeing Generation Next outnumbered.
When you go after everybody on the roster and say you're going to take their spot, eventually the numbers are going to be against you, Roderick Strong taking a beating from everybody.
Oh, it should be pointed out, Generation Next is in this double main event tonight.
Gary Moyer finally regaining control. Good job by the referee.
Yeah, I think Gary Moyer did the right thing, maybe letting that go a little bit.
I might have missed it though. When the ref's back turned, did Roderick Strong take a cheap shot on the eyes of Nigel McGuinness?
Yes, he did, and now he's going to go with the Greco-Roman knuckle lock. Oh, now Roderick Strong sure is getting cocky for a guy that was getting chopped, carved up like a steak a second ago.
I think he was mocking Nigel McGuinness's European style there. And a test of strength, McGuinness, there you go, he knows how to use that leverage, slams the arm down.
Falls away with that overhand wrist lock.
Shoots the leg out into a divorce court. There's that arm submission. As much as Josh Daniels and Mark Stryker don't want to, they might have to make the save. Yes, he made the save for Generation Next. He had no choice or this one might have been over.
Well, this is how important it is for Matt Stryker to win this match. You know, Matt Stryker is torn on a personal level. He'd love to have seen Roderick Strong get his arm torn out of his shoulder, but from a professional level, he can't afford many more losses here.
A heated exchange between Nigel and Stryker, and it ended with Stryker being suplexed on Strong.
Now McGuinness needs to be aware that it's still Strong, the legal man in the ring. He can't afford to keep his back turned to Strong.
But Daniels just tagged McGuinness out. So we have Daniels and Roderick Strong. And Daniels with that potent back elbow. Textbook back suplex.
You know, styles I think would complement each other if they wanted to form a team would be Collier and Daniels.
That would be a great tag team. We have a heated exchange on the outside too with Stryker and McGuinness again.
I don't know why McGuinness is so upset that Stryker made the save, because if the situation was reversed, McGuinness would have made the save. I'm not sure why McGuinness is letting the temper get the best of it. There's nothing to be gained with fighting Matt Stryker on the outside of the ring.
We just had two of the hardest choppers exchanging chops. It ends with a German by Daniels with a bridge. 2 count only. Chops being flown everywhere. Enziguri.
And from a standing position, which is very difficult to do, Daniels and Strong actually have an advantage right now, because as long as it's McGuinness and Stryker fighting, well, now they've come up the apron and Stryker's tagged himself into the match. But there was a golden opportunity for both of these men, considering that nobody would have been able to make the save.
Roderick Strong flung to the outside. The hard chops continue. You want to talk about a hard-hitting match? This is what we got in our hands right here. And Samoa Joe versus Rocky Romero is next.
Now it's still Roderick Strong and Nigel McGuinness on the floor. Again, Stryker and Daniels with an opportunity here. If one of them can score some type of a pinning combination, nobody will be able to make that save.
Big clothesline.
I don't think that he really thought that he was going to beat Stryker with that clothesline, did he?
It takes a lot to defeat someone like Matt Stryker, a Field of Honor champion. Hooks that leg. There's that DDT.
Grapevine DDT. Stryker hooks the back leg.
Only a 2 count. As look at Roderick Strong punishing the arm. Nigel McGuinness punishing the arm of Roderick Strong on the outside.
They have been brawling. I mean, it's almost like those two have completely forgotten the match.
McGuinness has been fighting a lot on the floor, as we just have everyone fighting with everybody. Josh Daniels now fighting out of that from Stryker. Connects with the 2 clotheslines now. Stryker, though, ducks the 3rd one. Has him cinched. Hoists him over and flings him into the center of the ring.
Boy, that was a hard way right there. Boy, Roderick Strong barely gets over in time to make the save.
Strong now in. Referee Gary Moore having trouble keeping control. Looks like perhaps a pump handle here. No, and a roll-up. Stryker rolls through, though.
Well, it's an interesting move by Roderick Strong. Falls away with the pump handle. Looks like he wants to go for some type of a half Nelson suplex.
I'm losing track of the legal man now.
Half Nelson backbreaker by Strong.
The Messiah of the backbreaker. Super kick by McGinnis.
Big thrust kick by McGinnis, hooks the near leg. And notice the referee counted it. So we can assume for the moment that it's McGinnis and Strong as the legal men.
McGinnis hoisting him up. He's going for that bulldog stunner combination. And oh, look at that. They're rolled up. Josh Daniels though breaks it up.
I think the referee has given up on trying to keep track of who's the legal man.
I've lost track myself. I think Josh Daniels was legal.
I'm almost positive McGinnis is.
There's Nigel McGinnis up and over. And he traps Josh Daniels. He's going for that move again. Nails it right on the head of Daniels. He gets the 3. Nigel McGinnis proves the homicide victory wasn't a fluke. 2 in a row for McGinnis.
just like Ali did.
It is world title time here in Dayton, Ohio. The dominant and reigning ROH World Champion Samoa Joe defending against one half of the ROH Tag Team Champions, Rocky Romero of the Rottweilers. Romero breaking the code of honor, disrespecting Joe and slapping him in the face when Joe was offering a hand. The bell is rung. We are underway. Romero, Joe, the Samoa Joe versus Rottweilers feud continues with the world title on the line.
And of course, you can't see him in this camera shot, but Homicide is at ringside, seconding Rocky Romero in this match. And if Homicide's out there, you know he's going to be a factor, because Romero was a factor in Homicide's victory over CM Punk earlier tonight. We saw Rocky Romero slap Samoa Joe a moment ago. Jimmy, in the 19 title defenses of Samoa Joe, a lot of times we've seen guys in there with almost a facade acting like they weren't intimidated by Samoa Joe. Rocky Romero, legitimately not intimidated by Samoa Joe. They came up in the same dojo. Not only have they had matches in the ring against one another, but they've had matches in training with one another. Nobody in the ROH locker room knows Samoa Joe as well as Rocky Romero.
Joe can definitely not sleep on Romero, and he knows that. Romero has a lot of mental advantages going into this match, including homicide at ringside, including the fact that Romero has spit on that ROH World title belt, totally disrespecting Joe in the belt. Joe has also had his problems with the Rottweilers,
and Homicide traps the ankle.
Absolutely uncalled for. What's Sinclair doing? He is admonishing Homicide.
Homicide does nothing.
Yeah, that is not going to do anything.
Now he's trying to get the ring announcer's attention.
He's talking to Bobby Cruz, our ring announcer.
Ladies and gentlemen, attention please. Referee Todd Sinclair is just informed me that he's demanding Homicide leave ringside.
Homicide's been ejected. Todd Sinclair, in a very smart piece of officiating, isn't even going to try to keep track of Homicide. He's just going to eject him.
Bobby Cruz also just said if Homicide does not leave, Romero will be disqualified. Normally there's no way Homicide would respect the referee's rule there, but he has to leave or this world title match is over. Homicide does not want his teammate Romero to lose this world title match. And he's out of here. It's one-on-one. Samoa Joe and Rocky Romero. Champion against champion.
Of course, Romero teams with Ricky Reyes to hold those ROH Tag Team Championships.
Rocky Romero has exploded on the scene here in ROH in 2004. He made his debut as well. There's a big slap by Joe and Romero goes down. Romero made his debut at Reborn Stage 1 on April the 23rd as him and Reyes took the Briscoe brothers to the limits in a hard-hitting match. Since that time, Romero has quickly skyrocketed up the rankings. He and Reyes surprised everyone by winning the tag team titles so quickly when they defeated CM Punk and Colt Cabana. Since that time, they have been successful in defending those titles in numerous defenses. Now Romero can be a singles champion and hold the richest prize in Ring of Honor.
And become the first man to be a double champion.
Right about that, there's never been a double champion in Ring of Honor history before.
Of course, there had never been a double champion. There had never been a double champion in several organizations before. Yeah, Nick Bockwinkel was considered a tag team specialist in the AWA. Nick Bockwinkel and Ray Stevens had formed one of the great tag teams ever in holding the AWA Tag Team Championship. Then Nick Bockwinkel beat Vern Gagne for the AWA World Heavyweight Championship. So Rocky Romero finds himself in somewhat of a similar situation.
These two just laying into each other. That kick connected. Romero goes down and goes to the floor. There are no countouts here in ROH, but if you are on the floor too long, you will be disqualified. However, you're going to have to be out there for a while for a world title match to end. Romero, definitely time for a breather. Join with the fans.
Romero, one of the few people comfortable trading strikes with Samoa Joe.
If anyone would know any of Samoa Joe's secrets, it's Rocky Romero. Not only that, but as I said, Romero is in the head of Samoa Joe. Joe wants revenge for when Romero attacked him. Joe wants revenge for when Romero spit on the ROH World title belt at Death Before Dishonor Part 1.
And it's got to be going through Samoa Joe's mind that Homicide had the audacity to bring out the ROH Heavyweight Championship belt, the new ROH Championship belt, when Homicide came out for the match. Oklahoma roll into the cross arm breaker by Romero, and Samoa Joe quickly goes into the ropes.
Joe did have those hands clasped. That meant that Romero was not able to extend the arm, which is where the effectiveness of the move takes place. Romero with that cocky smile on his face.
Romero, one of the few people that actually means it. Yeah, we see a lot of people out there, jawing at Samoa Joe, acting like they're not scared while their knees are knocking. Not Rocky Romero.
Romero can be cocky because he is that damn good.
Greco-Roman knuckle lock into the single leg pickup. Now Samoa Joe trading leg grapevines, and now Samoa Joe's going into the ropes, and Samoa Joe's got the leg trapped. And Romero takes some kicks at the leg.
Very aggressive by Romero, as he's almost baiting Joe in. There's that cockiness, trying to cause Joe to make a mistake.
Two men with very similar styles.
They came from the same dojo, so they do share similar fighting philosophies.
Samoa Joe, Cole, who is very, he's very careful with his praise. He certainly doesn't exaggerate other wrestlers. Samoa Joe called Rocky Romero an exceptional wrestler. And he scores again with those kicks.
Joe unleashing the punishment on Romero.
I think Romero is more frustrated than he is hurt on that exchange.
Romero sporting the mouthpiece. You know you're going into a hard-hitting match when your opponent's wearing a mouthpiece.
I think this might be more of a mind game than rest for Romero. CM Punk tomorrow night will defend against the winner of this match.
Well, right now you have to wonder if Samoa Joe might be looking past this match to CM Punk. Romero sending a message to Punk earlier tonight saying he's walking out with the belt.
Scores again with a high kick. Speaking of looking past, superstar Billy Graham was in Madison Square Garden in 1978. They were setting up the return match between Bruno Sammartino and superstar Billy Graham. And Bob Backlund scores the upset out of nowhere that night to win the WWF title. So, yeah, it could happen.
Especially when you figure that Romero knows Joe's secrets, knows his training philosophies. Now look at that quickness by the champion. What a flurry. Romero also inside Joe's head after spitting on the belt after the attack and reborn completion.
Jimmy, were you surprised to see Samoa Joe offer Romero the handshake to start the match?
It was very puzzling. Joe had to know that Romero wasn't going to take it.
The athleticism of Rocky Romero on display. Springboard dropkick into the thigh. Romero with an opportunity to mount his first serious offense of the evening.
He is going right after the thigh of Samoa Joe, trying to Charlie horse it off, take away the effectiveness of the big man, take away his base. Joe blocking most of those slaps, so Romero trying to pummel him.
Samoa Joe with cat-like quickness. Takes Romero over, giving Samoa Joe a chance to get some circulation into that thigh. Did you see those welts on the thigh with that camera shot right there, Jimmy?
Those kicks by Romero are very effective, no doubt about that. Joe, it should also be noted, He is coming off one of his toughest title defenses to date against Bryan Danielson at Midnight Express Reunion, a match many are calling match of the year. 30-plus minutes, they went toe for toe. Joe winning that one with the chokehold.
That's a great point. And you're starting to see over the last couple of months especially the wear and tear that goes with being a champion, especially a champion as aggressive as Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe has been champion now for 18 months, and I think I was incorrect earlier. I think I said 19 title defenses. I think it's closer to 25, isn't it?
It's over 25. He's trying to go for his 19th month as world champion. He's over 25 title defenses. Doug Williams went down to Glory by Honor 3. Bryan Danielson at Midnight Express Reunion, 2 great matches there. But how much longer can Joe keep up the schedule as he shrugs off those kicks and puts Romero down again?
Well, it's the golden show, the 50th show for the Ring of Honor, and Samoa Joe is one of the reasons that ROH is on the map to the level of it is. Samoa Joe, perhaps the most aggressive champion of the last 15 years in any organization.
He just sweeps the legs out from underneath Rocky Romero there. And you do figure this is the 50th show, as you mentioned, and Joe's had over 25 title defenses. That's one heck of a track record right there.
Plus, Samoa Joe has also taken non-title matches. He took the non-title match that we talked about earlier in the 3-way against CM Punk and Homicide. Even as ROH champion, he insisted on being in the survival of the fittest elimination match. Now it's a full Boston Crab. Samoa Joe using his weight to his advantage.
Romero reaches the ropes and saves himself.
Yeah, Samoa Joe, and I know I've said this over and over, but you have to be impressed with how Samoa Joe doesn't want to just be ROH champion. He wants to be the dominating ROH champion.
When he won the belt, his goal was to make it a world title and raise the prestige of the belt, and he's done exactly that, defending it in Canada, the United Kingdom, Germany, defending it in other promotions. And right now, he might be losing the belt because,
I bet he wishes he had that mouthpiece back.
And I think I spoke too soon. I thought Romero had some good offense going, and Joe just slapped him. Wow, I can't believe it. Romero is down. Oh, there's a glassy look in his eye. 2 count only. Somehow Romero, on pure instinct, getting that shoulder up.
What was Romero thinking when he decided to toss the mouth guard into the crowd?
Perhaps he thought that he had some momentum going there with those strikes and kicks, but Joe just leveled him.
The thing about Samoa Joe that really separates him from other wrestlers his size that work that strong style is that Samoa Joe is so quick. He really moves like a 220-pounder in there.
With that frame, there is a lot behind those kicks and slaps and strikes too. Romero up and over. Romero moving a lot slower now. He gets caught with that enziguri and goes to the floor.
Man, he can move slow too as Samoa Joe pays to beat away facing Rocky Romero.
I think Romero might be out on his feet, although he's not on his feet right now.
Oh, now this is going to be a little bit of payback time for Samoa Joe.
Joe looks like he's getting to have some fun now. He's going for revenge with the ole kick.
Yeah, remember when Romero spit on the belt? Samoa Joe does.
If Romero wasn't out before, he is out now. Ole time.
I think the referee is considering calling this match a technical knockout.
Did you see Romero's eyes? There's nothing there. There's nobody home.
I'm just glad to see Rocky Romero still moving. That's another head weight right there.
Sinclair trying to get him into the ring.
Front face lock by Samoa Joe, making sure he's controlling Romero. Romero's not just playing possum.
He's just toying with him right now.
Jimmy, I don't think Rocky Romero's flying under the radar in this match.
Sinclair might want to think about stopping this one. Joe is getting his revenge on the Rottweiler.
No Julius Smokes at ringside for this. Homicide has been ejected.
Ricky Ray is not here either. Romero is on his own and Joe is taking advantage. Cover! Whoa! How? Where's he getting that from?
Not only was he knocked out, but Samoa Joe not only had the leg hook, but he had the leg hooked into a half Nelson. And Romero still rolls the shoulder.
Romero now going for the arm. You have to respect the toughness of Rocky Romero. He scores with a kick. Both men down.
Romero is going to try to get over for the cover.
Oh!
Romero needs to grab a rear chin lock and try to get the cobwebs out of his head. Instead, it looks like he's going to mount the top rope.
Romero on instinct. Hits that DDT. Joe blocked it though, but still effective by Romero as he's buying some time.
Yeah, but by blocking it, I think Joe's sternum was driven into Rocky Romero's knees.
This crowd in Dayton eating up this hard-hitting action. Romero blocks. Joe was going to play it, and Romero blocked it. Oh, knee right on the chin. That could be a knockout. It only takes 3 seconds. Cover. 3 count.
No, he got the hand. He got the fingers over the bottom rope. Romero starting to feel it. If Romero hadn't taken so much punishment a few minutes earlier, I think Romero could have gotten over and made the cover quicker. And I think that may have been the difference. Because Samoa Joe at the last possible instance just puts his 3 middle fingers over that bottom rope.
Romero connected right on the chin of Joe. Any boxer will tell you blowing the chin will knock you out. Romero following up with knees. Joe is in trouble. The world champion is in trouble. Oh, he saves himself. Big knee by Joe. Cover. Romero somehow kicks out. Joe now. Oh, drops Romero on his head. Another cover. Romero has to be the toughest man on the planet to kick out again.
He keeps rolling that shoulder.
Where's he getting it from?
Now Samoa Joe, you can start to see that chest heave. He's taking a lot of punishment in this match and has expended a lot of energy.
Joe has to ask himself what it's going to take.
The athleticism of Rocky Romero.
There's that cross-arm breaker. Oh, Joe reaches the ropes. Romero, he made Chad Collier tap with that. He's made many men tap with that. Joe quickly reaching the ropes, though. Ring positioning favoring the champion.
Rocky Romero following up on the advantage. Chop across the throat. Rocky Romero now driving knees into the head. Samoa Joe able to block most of them. Misses. Now Samoa Joe fighting back. Slabs of his own. Open hand blows.
Both men blocking though, and Romero going for that arm again. Trying to turn it over. Joe stopping his momentum.
The strength of Samoa Joe is actually putting Romero on his shoulders now, lifts him up. Slams him. Samoa Joe, STF.
He's got it cinched in. And look how much he's rearing back on Rocky Romero. Oh, even more torque now.
He's going to snap his spine in half.
Romero, and he taps.
He had to.
No choice by Rocky Romero. Samoa Joe's going on to Chicago tomorrow night to defend the title against CM Punk. Joe just gained some revenge on the Rottweiler.
Like B.I.G. is I'm the greatest of all times. I'ma say it just like Ali did. The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here!
very, very special occasion tonight. Tonight, you see Generation Next take its place at the top of Ring of Honor as the greatest faction in the history of this company, at the expense of the Second City Saints. And tonight, we put that has-been, Ricky Steamboat, right where he belongs, on the outside, looking in.
How you like that one, Ricky? Shut up! Man, shut
Tonight, when we destroy, not if, but when we destroy Ricky Steamboat and the Second City Saints, there will be but one thing left to do, and that's come for the ROH World title.
For our main event here, Gary Moore calling for the handshake. The code of honor to be followed. Of course, Generation Next disrespecting their opponents, not following the code of honor. We have one of the hottest rivalries here in ROH right now. Starting it off, Jimmy Jacobs against Alex Shelley.
And it's a rivalry within the rivalry. Of course, the Second City Saints have challenged Generation Next, and that feud has intensified over the last few programs. But this is almost a feud inside the feud. Jimmy Jacobs and Alex Shelley, former tag team partners, have had some intense matchups lately. Of course, Jimmy Jacobs completely disrespected by Shelley. Shelley, of course, had blamed Jacobs for holding him back, but that was the impetus for him starting Generation Next.
It's going to get more violent tomorrow night in Chicago because these two are going to meet in a no DQ I quit match. Jacobs, he's been defeated by Shelley time and time again, and he wants that victory more than anything else in the world. Now, you might be asking yourself, why is Jimmy Jacobs in this match?
Why is Jimmy Jacobs in this match?
There you go, Mark. Actually, you asked me, not yourself. But anyways, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat needed a third person on this team since Colt Cabana is still out for an injury, and he selected Jimmy Jacobs. Steamboat has really taken a liking to Jimmy Jacobs, and the compliments don't get much higher than that.
And Jimmy Jacobs, of course, was instantly accepted just for the opportunity to be in the ring one more time with Alex Shelley.
Generation Next against the Second City Saints has become one of the hottest feuds in ROH ever since Death Before Dishonor Part 2, when Generation Next jumped the Saints in their own hometown of Chicago, ruining the victory celebration after that Chicago street fight. And then to add insult to injury, they made Ricky the Dragon Steamboat watch the attack by tying him to the ropes. Interesting submission there by Shelley on Jacobs.
Alex Shelley giving a little bit of a preview of the I Quit match tomorrow night between, there's Tracy Brooks at ringside.
CM Punk's girlfriend, the beautiful Tracy Brooks, making a return to ROH tonight. Insulting slap back and forth. Midnight Express reunion saw Shelley and Austin Aries as the survivors in the 8-man elimination that featured Jacobs, Ace Steel, CM Punk, John Walters IV on that side, managed by Steamboat. So the Punk, Steel, Jacobs, Steamboat side still looking for revenge on Generation Next as things get intense with Shelley and Jacobs.
Jimmy Jacobs would love nothing better than consecutive victories over Alex Shelley. And Jimmy Jacobs, as I mentioned earlier, has improved so much, though he's still kind of got that Jackie Joyner Kersey thing going on with the one-legged tights, doesn't he?
I guess so. Shelley looking towards this corner. He's got Jack Evans and Austin Aries to tag in. Here comes CM Punk.
Now, at what level is CM Punk right now? Because he took a beating from Homicide earlier. Homicide jabbed him with the edge of the chair. By the way, not that I'm trying to give lessons on how to hit somebody with a chair, but it can actually be more damaging to hit somebody with the edge of the chair like Homicide did than it is with the flat of the chair.
CM Punk suffering that injured neck. We saw his promo at intermission saying he'll be okay for this because pride is on the line. Him and Aries going at it. Aries looking to even the score against Punk as Punk defeated him at Glory by Honor 3 in that singles match when Steve Corino returns. Back elbow by Aries connects with Punk.
Austin Aries. You know, you look at Austin Aries and you think he's just one more big victory away from doing anything he wants in ROH, including winning that ROH World title.
He definitely has world champion written all over him. In fact, him and Shelley, it seemed they had a little discussion in the ring about who would be going after that title. That's another subject, though, for another time. As there's a beautiful backbreaker by CM Punk, similar to what we saw in the Homicide match.
Double arm backbreaker, now a step over toe hold by CM Punk. Now CM Punk, probably the captain of this team, rolls through with the step over toe hold and tags in Ace Steel.
We did see Aries make mention of the world title before this match in the promo that Generation Next cut. So it is interesting to see what's going to happen and who from Generation Next will challenge for that belt.
Now Ace Steel in the ring to cover on Shelley, or on Aries rather, and gives Evans and Shelley a taste before turning his attention back to Aries. And something that needs to be pointed out here, for all the noise that Generation Next has made, how many championships have they won?
Well, they started at the, it's a good point, they really haven't gotten a lot of title shots though.
Oh, they've had title shots, but they haven't, you know, they've had a couple of shots, especially Alex Shelley at the Pure title, and hasn't been able to take the gold home.
They've come close. They have those. They've really come a long way considering this is a faction that's only been in existence since May 22nd. They started at the bottom. They took all the spots. They were looking to take the Second City Saints spot here and be known as the top faction in ROH. And you've got to figure title belts will be in their future, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Ace Steel unloading on Aries.
Of course, I know we brought this up before, but I promised to quit turning this into a history lesson at some point, but I can't look at Ace Steel without thinking of that incredible performance by Ace Steel and CM Punk against the Prophecy in that Chicago street fight.
Absolutely unbelievable. Jack Evans now in. Here comes CM Punk.
Who's cockier, Punk or Evans?
What the hell was that?
Breakdancing makes its return.
Are we going to see Punk breakdance? I certainly hope not. This crowd is ready for this six-man war.
Oh, I thought he was going to moonwalk there for a second.
Oh, a backflip in the face of CM Punk. That is just insulting. And he gets schoolboyed as a result.
Brings him high for the vertical suplex.
At least they're shutting him up here.
And just drops him into the brain buster. Who did Jack Evans think he was going to intimidate?
Punk nails him in the back of the head. Gary Moore with a 2 count, a cocky cover by Punk. He wasn't going for the win there. You see Steamboat watching his team perform. I still can't believe what we saw with Steamboat and Mick Foley.
I couldn't believe that, and I can't believe I still shake my head every time I see Ricky Steamboat in CM Punk's corner.
What a feud they had this year. You never would have thought that you'd see this. Evans going airborne but gets caught in an atomic drop.
More great moments as we celebrate ROH's 50th show. The feud between CM Punk and Ricky Steamboat.
That was something else, a feud of the year candidate. And right now, CM Punk introducing Jack Evans to various parts of that turnbuckle padding. Of course, there's nothing but a steel knob behind that padding, and that's not a heck of a lot of padding there.
You know, we make a big issue of how cocky and arrogant Jack Evans is, and well, he is. But Jack Evans is also a really tough guy, and I don't think Evans gets the credit he deserves for being as tough as he is. Giant swing with Ace Steel on the second buckle.
Oh, they just took his head off.
Giant swing into a drop kick from the second rope.
We got a cover. Austin Aries quick to make the save. Generation Next needs this win to prove they're the top faction.
Any combination of the Second City Saints has to be considered leading contenders for the Tag Team Championship.
Ace Steel trying to take the nose off the face of Jack Evans.
We have seen Jack Evans take some unbelievable high-risk moves. Some of them, like at Scramble Cage Melee, have paid off. And some of them have just, has been where he was literally unconscious lying on the floor. And he's come back. Nice athletic move by Ace Steel with the drop kick into the inside cradle. And again, Jack Evans kicks out.
Jack Evans is proving his toughness. And this is a guy that Bryan Danielson stretched in so many unnatural ways at Survival of the Fittest.
Yeah, but he's used to being stretched. This is a product of the Stu Hart dungeon.
The robot! Alright, that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in an ROH ring.
If anybody moonwalks, I think the referee should call for disqualification.
Here comes Jimmy Jacobs. So far, Steamboat's team is dominating.
The pure wrestling team, the Steamboat would refer to them as.
He takes a lot of pride in that.
Well, Steamboat should. He was a great wrestler, just a brilliant talent.
Jack Evans showing some signs of life, but Jacobs quickly cuts him off. Oh, Jacobs trying to cave in his ribs. And Shelley and Aries had to make the save, and they do it in a rude way, jumping Jacobs over the top rope.
And speaking of rude, here come the Second City Saints.
Aries and Shelley save themselves. Jacobs, though, there's a 3-on-1 situation on the floor. Double tope by the Saints.
Tope suicida as the head first dives to the floor. Generation Next is getting dominated here. I don't know if I can remember if I've seen any combination of Generation Next dominated to this at this level in a tag team match.
They have been very successful in these six-mans and tags. Not so successful here as Jacobs goes airborne.
Not the most graceful plunge I've ever seen, but certainly effective.
Gary Moyer trying to get them into the ring. Generation Next has to start mounting some offense soon. So far they've been cut off from using all those innovative and effective doubles and triple teams.
Half Nelson grapevine combination by Jacobs. Again, Evans kicks out. Jacobs needs to keep the match in the Steamboat team's corner. Now Evans is going to try to fight his way out of trouble.
That's not the place to go on Jimmy Jacobs. His head can take it.
Well, there may not be much in that head to hurt.
There's a lot in that spear. Jack Evans speared out of his breakdancing shoes.
Stu Hart did not teach him the breakdance. I think that needs to be pointed out. Jimmy Jacobs.
He's having a good time in there. Oh.
Well, you get that whip reverse. Jacobs does not need to loiter in the corner.
Jacobs, though, fighting out of there, going for that contra code.
No, not from this corner, you don't. And Austin Aries.
That's called a momentum changer. Cover. Evans needs to tag out. He's got Shelley and Aries, two dangerous weapons, fresh on the outside.
Oh, and Jimmy Jacobs trapped in no man's land now. Alex Shelley, who a lot of people say has talent on loan from God.
Well, Shelley says it.
Shelley, yeah, there are those that agree with Shelley.
This is a guy that could challenge for the ROH World title and be an ROH World Champion. In order to get to that title shot position, they need to score a pinfall here.
Snap suplex and a float over by Shelley.
Every fall, whether a singles, tag, four-corner survival, six-man mayhem, they count towards getting you into the contenders ring. The contenders ring voted on. If you get a certain percentage, you get in. Tracy Brooks cheering on at ringside.
Does she get a vote?
I'll give her one.
Yeah, I bet.
Clothesline puts down Jacobs.
Come on, Jimmy!
Hey, but now you accused me of something earlier that's simply not true. Tracy Brooks is at ringside. She's involved at the match. She's lending encouragement in the match. I'm not going to say she's a factor in the match, but at least she's not out of place out there. I don't have a problem with women at ringside if they're there to support the match and not, be on a bad episode of Star Search.
Tracy Brooks is lending her support. Austin Aries a little distracted by her, hitting on her before the match, though. There's a suplex into a slam there.
I can't blame him for trying.
That's CM Punk's girl. Better not. Jacobs now fighting back. He's going between the legs, trying to make that tag any way necessary. Aries, though, immediately pulls him into his corner.
Well, you got to wonder if that might have been a mind game, too. Maybe if you're trying to get inside CM Punk's head by hitting on his girlfriend.
No doubt. Here comes Alex Shelley. Things here in ROH are as hot as ever. What's going on here? What a triple team by Generation Next.
How high did Jack Evans get?
Grabbing those legs on his way down, increasing the momentum.
Jiminy cricket, he was airborne.
That right there used all the strengths of the various members of Generation Next. Alex Shelley's technical ability, Austin Aries' high-impact moves, and Jack Evans' aerial ability.
Yeah, you watch Jack Evans wrestle as much as we watch Jack Evans wrestle. You think that we'd quit being astounded by his athletic ability and how high he can get. Every show, Jack Evans still does something that amazes me.
How can you not be amazed by him? If only you would get his attitude straight. As there you see Generation Next choking out Jimmy Jacobs on the ropes. Ace Steel losing his cool.
Catapults Jimmy Jacobs' throat.
Austin Aries has all the tools. He can fly, he can out-wrestle you, he can use submissions, whatever it takes.
We've talked a lot about the great moments in the ROH's first 50 shows. Where does Austin Aries' classic encounter at the end of Survival of the Fittest with Bryan Danielson rank?
That ranks among the greatest matches in company history, as well as a 75-minute match at Testing a Limit against Bryan Danielson. Aries is another guy who's just exploded on the scene, starting with the Reborn shows. Really helped make ROH something special in 2004 and freshen things and liven things up here in Ring of Honor. Same for Alex Shelley as he tags in. There's that cockiness of Shelley, spitting right in the face of the Second City Saints, drawing him in, and there's that cocky smile.
Well, actually, Ace Steel resisted, and so Jimmy Jacobs is still in trouble, but at least he's not being double or triple teamed now. Nice poise by Jimmy Jacobs to avoid being baited into the ring.
Punk now losing his cool, slaps the back of Shelley. Gary Morris sending him out.
Well, of course, as soon as I point out how poised Ace Steel was, CM Punk comes into the ring.
I'm sick of being nice.
Alex Shelley has so many innovative and effective moves. Jacobs, though, fighting back, trying to fight out a superplex, a headbutt. Down goes Shelley. These two know each other so well.
And that's why they hate each other so much.
Senton scores. Can Jacobs roll over and make the tag?
I'm even not sure Jamie Jacobs knows where he is. He's heading toward the wrong corner.
Steamboat urging him on. Tracy Brooks urging him on.
Follow the beacons at ringside.
Shelley inching towards his corner. He has Evans and Aries waiting for him. He gets a tag, and yes, Jacobs gets out. Here's Punk and Aries. Punk going after everyone. DDT stunner combination. Cover.
Come on, rep. 3, come on.
CM Punk, I'm not saying he has to win this match because he gets the title match with Samoa Joe tomorrow night either way. But I think CM Punk needs to wrestle well enough that he can gain some momentum back that he lost in the Homicide loss.
Well, you're 100% about right, and he tried to with that 2 count. CM Punk needs a victory here. He needs to get momentum back in his favor going into his hometown of Chicago tomorrow night. He slaps on that side headlock. He's got that thing locked in. Vice-like grip. Very similar to what we saw in his first match against Samoa Joe when he used that headlock so effectively. Aries now making his way to his feet. Whipping him in. We got a crisscross going. And Aries just slid right into Tracy Brooks. A baseball slide into Brooks.
And it's broken down. It's a riot on the floor. All 6 men going after it. What a cheap shot by Austin Aries.
Aries just absolutely nailed her with that sliding kick, that baseball slide. Tracy Brooks might be injured at ringside. She has to be injured. That was full impact, all impact by Mr. Velocity, Austin Aries.
Steamboat looks like he's going to try to take Tracy Brooks back to the locker room.
Steamboat's a true gentleman. He caught Brooks right in the midsection, I believe. It happened so suddenly, both cameramen missing it. Steamboat, oh, look at that look in his eye. A look of concern and anger. Meanwhile, Generation Next has used this moment of mayhem to take the advantage on CM Punk on the floor.
And the referee's helping the Steamboat take Tracy back to the locker room. That means we're going to be without a referee for the next few minutes.
It's all mayhem going on. Punk, though, he was on the worst end of all that.
Austin Aries waiting for CM Punk as Punk climbs the apron, drives the forearm into the side of the head. CM Punk is going to try to hook him in for a vertical suplex. Punk up and over. Punk off the ropes.
Punk trying to make a comeback. No, Aries ducks that.
Clothesline decapitates Punk.
That'll definitely put Punk down. But look at the corner of Generation Next. Jack Evans is down. Alex Shelley is down. They need some time to regroup, and they might have that time now at the expense of CM Punk. Another one takes the head off of CM Punk.
And remember, CM Punk earlier took that side of the chair to the back of the neck and the lariat from Homicide. So Generation Next, you know that they're going to go after the back of the head and the neck of the CM Punk if they can get an advantage here. And I can't tell from this angle, is CM Punk bleeding from the mouth?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if one of those clotheslines did split his mouth open. Perhaps a lip, perhaps the inside of his mouth. As here comes Alex Shelley in now.
Of course, Alex Shelley, the master of the Border City Stretch, which would take advantage of any neck injury that CM Punk may have.
Aries now. It looks like he might be going for a submission on that neck. No, he's turning over. This is called the skull F. I can't say that word. And that is all impact on the neck and face. 2 count. And there you see the look in CM Punk's eyes. Then glazed over. I don't think Punk knows where he is.
Tags the foot. Austin Aries in. And just tries to kick a field goal. It looks like he's auditioning for the Buckeyes there.
Generation Next should really concentrate their attack on the neck of CM Punk. Perhaps they didn't do this homework. They don't know that's injured after that Homicide match.
No, I just think it's the chest was open and he took the cheap shot into the ribs. Jack Evans. Oh, now what a series of moves by Generation Next. Everything from backspring elbows to drop kicks to the back of the neck and the shoulders.
Let's hear it for CM Punk now, huh?
Someone's going to shut him up. Punk trying.
Alex Shelley, single leg dive.
Generation Next has been so effective in these 6-man, 8-man tag team matches, whatever it is. They made their debut at the show Generation Next when they shocked everybody by forming that group, then having that match of the year candidate 8-man against the Briscoes, John Walters and Jimmy Rave, immediately putting themselves on the map with that 40-plus minute victory.
Rear chin lock. Again, putting all the pressure on the neck and the shoulders.
Gary Moyer seeing if there's any signs of life in CM Punk. Punk showing that he still has some hardened fight left.
The crowd not exactly chanting for Alex Shelley, chanting at Alex Shelley. Something that I'd prefer not to repeat.
Shelley showing a lot of poise though, still has that hold hitched in. We got 2 times. One more time and this one's over. Gary Moore lifts up the arm. No! Punk showing signs of life.
I bet Samoa Joe's watching this match right now. Don't be surprised if tomorrow night, if Samoa Joe has the opportunity, you're going to be seeing a lot of moves going after the neck and shoulders of CM Punk. Drop kick to the back of the neck.
Just like that one.
There's the tag to Austin Aries.
Aries trying to direct some traffic, it looks like. Or Generation Next teamwork.
Yeah, Shelley and Aries both look like they want to be the lead traffic cop, don't they?
That is definitely something to keep an eye on as they spike Punk down. Simple and effective there. Jacobs and Ace still having a problem with the triple teamwork. They do have a 5 count, but they should have a problem with that choke behind the ref's back.
The more that you slow CM Punk down, the more he's susceptible to any of the high impacts, high flying moves of Jack Evans.
Here comes Evans with those chops. Punk pushing him off. Punk back elbow.
Adrenaline burst by Punk, but they've got the leg strap keeping him in that corner.
It's another triple team. Punk needs to get out of there soon. There's another strike to the neck.
Boy, how injurious would this be to Punk's momentum if he loses 2 matches in one night before his world title shot?
He can't afford to. There's just no way. Evans scoops him up. Fisherman's buster. Now he turns Punk over. Cover. Ace Steel wisely making the save and spinning on Evans. Tossing Evans down. Tag goes out to Alex Shelley.
Shelley, first thing he's probably going to do is going to bring him right back into the corner.
Hoisting Punk up by the hair and the head. Punk fighting out of this. Knees to the midsection. No, Shelley counters. Golden Gate swing. Cover. That's Fisherman's neckbreaker called the Golden Gate swing by Donovan Morgan. More impact on the neck of CM Punk.
And again, you look, goes right back to that front face lock.
Steamboat trying to rally the troops on.
You know, if it's used right, that front face line can almost be a sleeper.
Punk almost in the corner. He's almost there. He's going to make the tag. Oh, he didn't.
And Generation Next distracts the referee in case he had made the tag. Alex Shelley, with a burst of adrenaline, drives Punk out of the corner into the neutral corner. Now he's going to bring him back to the Generation Next corner, tag in Austin Aries.
I don't think Punk realized how close he was to the corner. Leapfrog, Aries and Shelley into each other. This is Punk's opportunity.
Aries is hurt. He appears to be out on his feet. So now he's going to check on Shelley. Shelley's still down. Ricky Steamboat is back from the locker room and is directing traffic at ringside.
He's pointing Punk in the right direction, and there's the tag. Ace Steel flies in with a springboard drop kick on Aries and Shelley. Catches Evans. Slams him into the corner.
Double arm into the knee of the shoulder. Now double arm power bomb.
Shelley right there to make the save for Aries. Gary Moore's got to get these Generation Next guys out of there. Oh, Shelley planted on his head.
Ace Steel wrestling very well here. Catches Jack Evans.
He could be going for that spinal shock. No, the tag's been made. Oh, Punk with a swanton into the spinal shock. That pinned Jack Evans on the last show. But Gary Moore keeping in mind the legal man, kicking Ace Steel out. Mule kick by Punk. Enziguri to the back.
I'm a little bit surprised we're seeing CM Punk back in the ring this quickly. He took a lot of punishment. Jimmy Jacobs is probably the freshest man on the Steamboat team.
Punk hooking Aries. Aries, though. No, another go behind. German suplex to the bridge. Frog splash by Shelley.
Now CM Punk, who took so much punishment earlier in this match. Now Alex Shelley's going to just place Aries on top of Punk. Punk rolls the shoulder. CM Punk may not have any oxygen left in those lungs.
Jimmy Jacobs has seen enough.
Jimmy Jacobs coming in without the benefit of the tag.
Inverted DDT. Holds on to Shelley and splashes Aries at the same time with the contra code. Cover!
Jimmy Jacobs making his presence felt in this match. Now gets backed off to the floor by Alex Shelley. Austin Aries, CM Punk still the legal men. Jack Evans regaining his win in the corner.
A Steel up now. This match has really taken a toll on everybody. A very grueling match. A Steel now giving it to Jack Evans in the corner. Gary Moore having a hard time keeping control. A Steel now telling Punk to go up. Punk's ready to fly. No, Aries turns into Huracarana, and that causes Punk to lose his balance. Punk getting crotched on the top.
Clutch move by Austin Aries. Figuring out a way with one move how to take the advantage away from both Steel and Punk.
Jack Evans proves why he's one of the top high flyers in the entire wrestling world. What's Austin Aries going for, though? No, Punk fights out of it. Punk now pulling Aries. No, a backdrop. And what's Roderick Steele doing with that chair? Boyer's on the floor. He's not seeing this. Steamboat's taking care of him. Roderick Strong trying to interfere, and Steamboat evening the odds with the famous chops and arm drags. Punk now up. Aries hook. Pepsi plunge. Cover. Warrior fights in. Punk gets the win. The second City Saints and Jimmy Jacobs, led by Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, score the victory over Generation Next. Punk gets the win, and he has momentum going into Chicago tomorrow night for the world title.
Look how excited Jimmy Jacobs is.
What a way to end the night in Dayton. We'll see you tomorrow night in Chicago. For Mark Nolte, I'm Jimmy Bauer. Thank you for joining us.
Generation X, you got a taste of what happens when you get up in my face. And back to you, Mick Foley, tomorrow night in Chicago. You put the challenge out. Your two guys against my two guys. Chad Collier, Nigel McGuinness. Two prime guys that out can wrestle any of your hardcore. Bring them on to Chicagoland. Great town for me. 1989, won the world belt from Flair. Whoa! And that was for you, Flair. These two guys gonna take you on, Mick Foley. Bring your bad boys on.
See you there.